Chapter 739. Defeat you. We can't wait any longer. We have to inform the senior. Mu Feng gritted his teeth and forced out a few drops of blood essence to burn despite his heavily injured body. Chi. While he was burning his blood essence, Mu Feng said in a low voice, "Senior, I've decided to use the third chance now. Please step forward and kill Mu Tian immediately." After Mu Feng finished speaking, he anxiously waited, hoping that the so-called senior would appear as soon as possible. Now is not the time for me to act. Let's wait a little longer. After a while, a powerful voice resounded in Mu Feng's mind. What the hell are we waiting for? If we wait any longer, Ningyu will be killed. Mu Feng said anxiously and even cursed. Ningyu won't be defeated so easily. The vigorous voice continued. Let me give you a heads up first. This time, it is not just Mu Tian who came to the Danwu Academy. Whoosh! Hearing the voice in his head, Mu Feng's heart thumped. Senior, it seems that there is another heaven-defying existence hidden in Danwu College. Thinking of this, Mu Feng's face turned ashen. He was the old dean of Danwu College, the guardian of all the students of Danwu College. In the hearts of Danwu College's students, as long as he was around, outsiders wouldn't dare to behave atrociously in Danwu College. Now, he could only rely on Ningyu to support himself. Failure. What a failure. As the dean of Danwu College, Mu Feng felt that he was a failure. After this incident, he decided to abdicate his position and let Ningyu take over the position of dean. Of course, this was all for later. The most important thing now was whether or not Ningyu would compromise. Mu Tian, you are indeed very strong. Ningyu took out a piece of cloth from his bosom and wiped the blood on his palm. He said lightly, You want me to kneel down and kowtow to you? That's not impossible. Voila! When Ningyu said this, the faces of the surrounding students turned ashen, looking extremely unsightly. However, I have a request. Ning, you didn't care about the reactions of the students around him. He changed the topic and said, Before I kneel before you, I want to see you use solitaire one more time. What? You know that I executed the solitary sword surge. Mu Tian's eyes widened when he heard Ningyu's words, and he berated, Speak. Who the hell are you? Ningyu did not answer Mu Tian. Instead, he pretended to drag his tired body forward step by step. Humph! You will pay for your arrogance. Seeing that Ningyu was ignoring him, Mu Tian harumphed coldly and dashed out. Mu Tian's speed was very fast. He arrived at Ningyu's side almost in the blink of an eye. Since you want me to perform the solitary sword wave again, I'll perform it for you to see. Mu Tian held the black flying sword in his hand and instantly slashed out a sword wave that was as thick as an arm. In Mu Tian's opinion, he didn't need to use his full strength to deal with the severely injured Ningyu. A solitaire with 50% of its strength was enough to kill Ningyu. Mu Tian, you've been tricked. Sensing that the power of Mu Tian's solitaire had been reduced by half, Ningyu grinned and his aura suddenly exploded. Today, I'll let you know that you're not the only one who can use solitaire. I can do it too. As soon as he finished his sentence, a blood-red flying sword appeared in Ningyu's hand. Under Mu Tian's shocked gaze, Ningyu also slashed out a sword wave that was as thick as an arm. Pist. However, the sword wave that Ningyu slashed out was obviously more powerful than Mu Tian's. In fact, it was much more powerful. What? You can also use solitaire? This is impossible. Mu Tian was dumbfounded. Before he came to the Great Xia Kingdom, if someone told him that he would meet a martial artist who could use solitaire in the Great Xia Kingdom, he would probably give that person a slap. However, some things always happened in an inexplicable and unexpected manner. No. Could it be that person's son? Suddenly, Mu Tian seemed to have thought of a possibility. His expression instantly changed from being dumbfounded to ecstasy. Crack! The ecstasy on Mu Tian's face didn't last for long as he was attracted by a cracking sound. In midair, the two solitaire collided with each other. Although Mu Tian had a deeper understanding of solitaire, he only used 50% of his strength, while Ningyu used his full strength. Under such circumstances, the solitaire that he executed was directly shattered. At the crucial moment, Mu Tian waved the flying sword in his hand continuously, trying to slash out solitaire again. The ideal was great, but the reality was harsh. Before Mu Tian could slash out solitaire, he realized that the space in front of him was surging. Immediately after, the space was completely torn apart, and a figure rushed out from within. Swoosh! The figure that rushed out from the space was none other than Ningyu. Ningyu took advantage of the moment when Mu Tian let his guard down to use the Red Devil's sword to quietly tear through the void and come to Mu Tian's side. Ningyu gathered all the essence in his sea of consciousness on his wrist. He threw a punch that brought along a monstrous force of essence and punched at Mu Tian's chest. To be honest, if Ningyu didn't know that Mu Tian's mother in this life was from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, he wouldn't have punched at Mu Tian's chest. Instead, he would have punched at Mu Tian's heart. Poof! Mu Tian's reaction was already very fast, but Ningyu was even faster. Before he could react, Ningyu's fist had already hit his chest. The huge force from his chest caused Mu Tian to feel a sweetness in his throat. He immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Crack, crack! After spitting out the blood, Mu Tian first clenched his fists, then wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He said viciously, "Ningyu, I'm going to tear you into pieces just because of this punch. There are many people who want to tear me into pieces, but you're not the only one." Ningyu automatically ignored Mu Tian's words and said calmly, "If you weren't from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, my punch just now would have been enough to take your life." Take my life? Humph. Even a martial artist in the advanced stage of the manifestation realm can forget about killing me, let alone you. Mu Tian snorted coldly. Even a martial artist in the advanced stage of the manifestation realm can forget about killing you? Ningyu thought that Mu Tian was joking. Given Mu Tian's current state, any martial artist in the Yuan Dan realm could kill him, let alone a martial artist in the advanced stage of the manifestation realm. Ning, you couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with Mu Tian. To deal with such a person, he should at least let him have a taste of pain. Otherwise, who would pay for the pain that Li Tongtian, Mu Feng, and the rest had suffered? I'd like to see what makes you so arrogant. Ningyu wasn't the kind of person who only talked and did not do anything. He would do what he said. The next moment, he stomped on the ground and charged towards Mu Tian at a shocking speed. Looking at the approaching Ningyu, Mu Tian crossed his arms in front of his chest. He had no intention of resisting. It was as though he had Ningyu in his grasp. Mu Tian's reaction was a little out of Ningyu's expectations. Oh no. Chapter 740. The first move, **T. Ningyu's expression changed drastically when he sensed the violent gust of wind in front of him. This turn of events had obviously exceeded his expectations. He had not expected a powerful cultivator to be hiding in the surroundings. Being able to hide from his senses meant that the other party's cultivation base was very high. There was no time for him to think about these messy things. Ningyu raised his right hand, and a violent wave of Yuan qi appeared in his palm. Then, with a piercingly cold, murderous intent, it exploded. To be on the safe side, Ningyu had even wrapped his advanced stage 6th grade soul power and the azure spiritual fire that he had not used for a long time around his fist. Against a powerful cultivator, he had to give it his all. Otherwise, he would die a horrible death. Crack! In the next moment, the two fists collided and a crisp sound rang out in the area. After the attack, Ningyu hurriedly took a few steps back. He glared at the gray-robed elder and said in a deep voice, "Who are you?" Although it was a hasty exchange, Ning Yu could basically tell that the elder before him was very powerful. His cultivation base was at least in the mid-stage of the manifestation realm. However, Ning Yu was a little confused. Logically speaking, it was difficult for a mid-stage manifestation realm cultivator to hide from his senses. Could there be another cultivator hiding in the void? It doesn't matter who I am. What's important is that you have offended young Master Mutian, so you must pay the price. The gray-robed elder laughed sinisterly. I'll give you 2 choices now. 1. Cripple your own hands, kneel down and admit your mistake. 2. Pei Wen, stop talking. No matter what, I will take Ning Yu's life today. Mu Tian interrupted the gray-robed elder with a vicious expression. Young Master Mu Tian, this kid is protected. You can't kill him. The gray-robed man called Pei Wen purposely lowered his voice and said, Don't go overboard. Otherwise, we might die at Danwu College. Impossible. Hearing this, Mu Tian's eyes widened as he said, coldly, Elder who is a pinnacle expert. Not to mention Danwu College. Even in the entire Great Xia Kingdom, there is no one who can go against him. Although you don't believe me, it is the truth. Leave this matter to me. Don't interfere. I promise to give you a satisfactory explanation, Pei Wen said. In fact, Pei Wen felt helpless. His cultivation level was indeed at the middle stage of the Blessed Realm, and he seemed to be the strongest person present. But reality was different. In terms of cultivation, he was only the 3rd strongest in this area, because there were 2 terrifying auras hidden in the void. The first terrifying aura came from Hu Jian, elder who of the Supreme 9 Purities Temple. The second terrifying aura came from the depths of Danwu College. As for its strength, it was likely that even Elder Hu was a little afraid of it. Otherwise, with Elder Hu's character, he would surely not give such a kind reminder. After all, in the Supreme 9 Purities Temple, Elder Hu was famous for his bad temper. Pei Wen, I'll tell you a secret. Mu Tian also knew that Pei Wen would not speak nonsense. He rolled his eyes and decided to come up with a plan to use Pei Wen. What secret? Pei Wen was puzzled. Mu Tian moved slightly closer to Pei Wen and whispered a few words in his ear. What? No one knew what Mu Tian said to Pei Wen, but it made Pei Wen jump. At the same time, Pei Wen stared at Ning Yu with a burning gaze like a hungry wolf staring at a wild rabbit. After all, Pei Wen was a middle-stage Blessed Realm martial artist. So he tried his best to control himself and asked, Is the news reliable? Absolutely. You won't get another chance if you miss this one. Think about it carefully. Mu Tian said this and did not say anything else. All right, 1 second. Pei Wen only thought for 1 second, and he had decided on a major matter. Before the burning look on his face disappeared, Pei Wen turned to stare at Ning Yu and said, I've changed my mind. As long as you can take 3 moves from me, I'll let you live. You want me to take 3 moves from you? Ning Yu frowned, not knowing what Pei Wen was up to. Ning Yu agreed to it, just as Ning Yu was secretly thinking. The Red Fiend's voice sounded in his mind. But you have to change the rules. You have to use a sword for these 3 moves. I have to use a sword. Ning Yu's heart skipped a beat as he asked in confusion. That's right. This mid-stage, blessed realm martial artist clearly wants you dead. In that case, you might as well make use of his mentality and attack first. The Red Fiend nodded. Hey, kid, be more straightforward. Ning Yu still wanted to say something, but Pei Wen seemed a little impatient. He said, This is your only chance to live. If you miss it, then don't be long-winded. Isn't it just 3 moves? I'll agree to it. Ning Yu first interrupted Pei Wen's words, then immediately changed the topic and said, But I have a request. We have to use a sword for these 3 moves. Use a sword? I don't care what you use. In short, 3 moves. If I block it, I'll live, but if I don't, I'll die. Pei Wen did not care what these 3 moves were used. To him, anything could easily kill Ning Yu. It was just that, in order to not be discovered, Pei Wen decided to use his full strength in the second move and kill Ningyu. This way, even if that powerhouse from Danwu College wanted to make a move to stop it, it would be too late. Moreover, Hu Jian would definitely not look on with folded arms when the powerhouse from Danwu College made a move. By the time a victor was decided, Ning Yu would have long been killed until not even dregs remained. Swoosh! In the next instant, Pei Wen took out a flying sword from his bosom. The flying sword was silvery white in color, containing violent essence energy undulations. A peak low-grade king, rank flying sword. The flying sword Pei Wen utilized was a peak low-grade king, rank flying sword, and its might was extremely formidable. With the peak low-grade king, rank flying sword in hand, Pei Wen arrived before Ningyu with a few leaps, and then he slashed out with his sword towards Ningyu's head. First move! Pei Wen shouted loudly. Swish! When they saw Pei Wen's mighty sword strike, the eyes of the surrounding students opened wide, and they revealed astounded expressions. How could Ningyu possibly resist the full strength of an intermediate stage creation realm martial artist? For a time, everyone looked down upon Ningyu, and it was even to the extent that some students started sighing. Alas, it's over, it's completely over. I originally thought that Ningyu could become the savior of the world, but who would have imagined that Ningyu isn't inferior to this powerhouse? Ningyu has already done very well, but it's a pity that this powerhouse possesses a cultivation at the intermediate stage of the creation realm. Right, if Ningyu advances to the creation realm, then he can surely become the guardian of Danwu College. What? The last student hadn't finished speaking when his mouth opened slightly while his pupils opened wide, and he seemed as if he'd seen something unbelievable. Everyone's gazes moved along the direction of this student's palm towards the center of the battlefield. Swoosh! It was fine if they didn't look, but once they did, it directly caused all the students to be dumbstruck on the spot. Crack! At the center of the battlefield, Ning Yu held the red devil sword in his hand as he slashed down from midair. A clear sound resounded out, and the outcome caused Pei Wen to be shocked. Exactly what flying sword is that in Ning Yu's hand? It actually slashed apart my low-grade king, rank flying sword. Chapter 741. To refrain from shooting the rat for fear of harming the innocent at the thought of this, Pei Wen's face burned with passion. His cultivation was at the middle stage of the creation realm. If he could obtain a royal grade flying sword, he could even fight against martial artists at the late stage of the creation realm or even at the peak of the creation realm. May I ask, what's your name? Just as Pei Wen was feeling ecstatic, Ningyu's voice suddenly rang in his ears. Pei Wen answered instinctively. However, as soon as he finished speaking, Pei Wen's pupils constricted, and he wanted to retreat. This was because he realized that Ningyu had already appeared beside him at some point in time. At this moment, he was holding a red flying sword and stabbing it straight at his heart. At such a close distance, coupled with the fact that Pei Wen was completely defenseless, there was naturally no way for him to dodge. Puff! Ningyu gripped the red demon sword in his hand and stabbed out, piercing right into Pei Wen's heart. Hong Mo, don't leave anyone alive. Ningyu is no saint. Pei Wen had already made it very clear that he wanted to kill him. If he still showed mercy, it would definitely be somewhat inexcusable. Therefore, after succeeding in his attack, Ningyu instructed the Red Fiend in the Red Fiend sword. Kill him. Actually, there was no need for Ningyu to say that. The moment the Red Fiend sword pierced Pei Wen's heart, the Red Fiend controlled the Red Fiend sword to unleash a powerful devouring force that frantically devoured Pei Wen. Chi-Chi. The devouring power of the Red Demon sword was extremely terrifying. Hiss! Although Mu Feng and old ancestor Jiumo had witnessed the power of the Red Demon sword in the forbidden area of Danwu College, they still felt a lingering fear when they saw this familiar scene. As for the surrounding students, They stood rooted to the ground, dumbfounded. In just a few seconds, a martial artist in the intermediate stage of the creation realm was killed just like that. Moreover, this martial artist in the middle stage of the manifestation realm had died in an extremely cruel manner. Only his skeleton was left lying flat on the ground. Ningyu, you killed Pei Wen. The person who was most shocked by Pei Wen's death was none other than Mu Tian. Mu Tian would never have imagined that Pei Wen, who was in the middle stage of the blessed realm, would actually die at the hands of Ningyu, and in such a brutal manner. He's just a martial artist in the middle stage of the manifestation realm. So what if he's dead? What's there to be surprised about? Ningyu shrugged and said calmly, "Don't worry. Now that Pei Wen is dead, you'll be next. Do you really think you can kill me?" Suddenly, Mu Tian became abnormally calm, terrifyingly calm. "I can't be bothered to talk nonsense with you." Ningyu didn't care if Mu Tian was cold or not. To him, he had to capture Mu Tian alive. If they couldn't capture him alive, then they would kill him. Whoosh! Ningyu flicked his wrist and recalled the red demon sword. Then, he tore through the void and charged toward Mu Tian. Looking at Ningyu getting closer and closer, Mu Tian's lips curled into a smile. He actually closed his eyes in front of so many people. Has Mu Tian lost his mind? I guess so. He dares to close his eyes while fighting against Ningyu. He must be tired of living. Pei Wen, who is in the middle stage of the manifestation realm, is no match for Ningyu. Does Mu Tian think he can easily kill a martial artist in the middle stage of the manifestation realm? Seeing Mu Tian close his eyes, Ningyu's reaction was different from that of the other students. He was very careful. At the same time, he quietly released his perception. "I'm going to kill him." After releasing his perception, Ningyu immediately cursed, because he realized that an extremely powerful aura was flying toward him at high speed. Although this martial artist had yet to tear through the void and appear in front of everyone, Ningyu could tell that this martial artist cultivation was at least in the late stage of the manifestation realm. It was even possible that he had reached the peak of the manifestation realm. It was true that when the young were beaten, the old came. When the old were beaten, the one who was about to enter the grave came. The moment he sensed the powerful aura, Ningyu decided to flee. He fled at high speed. However, the second after Ningyu made the decision to flee, he realized that an equally terrifying aura was gradually appearing on the other side. "I'm going all out. I have to capture Mu Tian first no matter what." Ningyu had heard from Mu Feng that there were martial artists in Danwu College who were more powerful than him. Now that two powerful auras had appeared at the same time, it was needless to say that one was the person behind Mu Tian, and the other was definitely a hidden powerhouse in Danwu College. Forgive and forget. Mu Tian is not someone you can offend. If you know what's good for you, you'd better stop. A powerful voice rang in Ningyu's ears. It shook Ningyu so much that he was on the verge of collapsing. However, Ningyu knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He would definitely not give up so easily. It's best that you don't interfere in the fight between the younger generation. After the powerful voice rang, faint laughter also rang in the area, directly dispelling the loud noise in Ningyu's ears, causing Ningyu to wake up completely. No. When Ningyu woke up, it was naturally Mu Tian's nightmare. At this moment, Mu Tian's heart was filled with mixed feelings, as if he had eaten **T. Mu Tian had placed all his hopes on Hu Jian. Now that Hu Jian was blocked, and he pretended to not resist, the result was obvious. Fresh blood spurted out. Mu Tian's aura dropped rapidly. In just a second, Mu Tian's aura dropped from the early stage of Yin-Yang realm to the true martial realm. When his aura dropped to the true martial realm, Mu Tian was like a little chick in Ningyu's hand. Hu Jian's expression was terrible. Mu Tian's position in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple was very high. If he was killed in the Xia Kingdom, even if he returned, he would not be able to explain. Damn it, Danwu College also has a martial artist at the peak of the manifestation realm. Hu Jian glanced at the old man beside him and cursed in his heart. Hu Jian was very helpless. As the saying went, a powerful dragon could not suppress a snake in its own territory. Moreover, he was not a powerful dragon, and his strength was at most on par with the old man. If they really fought, it was unknown who would win and who would lose. Seeing the old man appear, Mu Feng hurriedly sent a sole message. "Senior, I have decided to use the third chance to kill this expert." "Dean Mu, I can't fulfill your request." The old man took a deep breath and replied, "The expert you want me to kill has a cultivation similar to mine." "Similar to yours?" Hearing the old man's words, Mu Feng's eyes widened. Similar to the old man's cultivation? Didn't that mean that this expert's cultivation had reached the peak of the manifestation realm? At this moment, a wave of despair rose in Mu Feng's heart. According to the agreement between Danwu College and the old man, after the third chance was used, the old man would leave Danwu College. As long as the old man left Danwu College, how could Danwu College resist this expert at the peak of the manifestation realm? Ning, you did not know the worries in Mu Feng's heart. He only had one thought in his mind, and that was to control Mu Tian. As long as he could control Mu Tian, the martial artist at the peak of the manifestation realm before him would definitely hesitate to attack. Ningyu, you saw it too. Hu Jian's cultivation is at the peak of the manifestation realm. If you kill me, he will definitely start a massacre in Danwu College. Chapter 742. A Foolproof Plan. Your father holds a high position in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple? If I remember correctly, other than the Palace Lord, there are also 9 Supreme Elders in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. I wonder if your father is the Palace Lord or the Supreme Elder. Ning Yu asked calmly. My father is one of the top 5 Supreme Elders in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Mu Tian said proudly, with my father's ability, not only can he let you enter the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, he can even make you an inner disciple. No, he can make you a core disciple. To me, this is indeed a great temptation. Ningyu took a deep breath and made a longing expression. Seeing that Ningyu was about to be convinced by him, Mu Tian's eyes flickered as he continued. Ningyu, your innate talent is one of the best even in the Supreme Nine Purities Palace. Why do you need to stay in a place like the Great Xia Kingdom where even birds don't shit? Humph. As long as you fall for it, I have 100 ways to kill you. Mu Tian snorted in his heart. Words are no proof. You have to show some sincerity, Ningyu said indifferently. What sincerity? Mu Tian raised his brows and asked doubtfully. It's very simple. Ningyu pointed at Mu Feng and the others not far away and said, You barged into the Danwu Academy indiscriminately and injured many students and instructors. Even the old dean was injured by you. We have to settle this score properly. I was wondering what it was. It's simple. Mu Tian waved his hand, not taking this matter to heart. He flicked his sleeve and a storage bag flew out. Pa! Ning Yu grabbed the storage bag and at the same time sent a part of his perception into the storage bag. Just these few crystals. Are you sure you're not trying to get rid of a beggar? After a while, Ningyu retracted his perception and shook the storage bag in his hand with a cold expression. Pooh! Ningyu's words caused Mu Tian to spit out a mouthful of blood, leaving him stunned on the spot. Others might not know how many crystals were in the storage pouch, but Mu Tian was very clear about it. 1 million royal grade origin crystals. In order to obtain Ningyu's trust, Mu Tian gave Ningyu an entire 1 million royal grade essence crystals. Unexpectedly, Ningyu said it wasn't enough. Let's do it this way. Double the price, and we'll write it off. Ningyu shrugged. Damn it, Mu Tian cursed. However, he had no choice but to lower his head when he was under someone else's roof. Moreover, He still had to gain Ning Yu's trust. You can't catch the wolf without risking the child. You can't catch the tiger cub without entering the tiger's den. At this moment, Mu Tian did not know why he was bewitched, but he suddenly thought of the sentence. Here, Mu Tian pondered for a second. A second later, he threw another storage bag to Ning Yu. Ning Yu did not even check how many royal grade origin crystals were in the storage bag and directly threw it into his storage ring. I've done everything according to what you said. Can you let me go now? Mu Tian said when he saw Ning Yu keep the storage bag. Let you go? Why should I let you go? Ning Yu's mouth opened slightly as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world. He said with a smile, Your backer is a peak manifestation realm martial artist. Wouldn't I be courting death if I let you go? You're going back on your words. Mu Tian's expression darkened instantly as he said, coldly, I never go back on my words because I never said that I would rely on you from the start. I just want you to show some sincerity. Your sincerity to Dean Mu is enough, but not to me, Ning Yu said indifferently. What sincerity do you want? Mu Tian gritted his teeth and said, This amount. Ning Yu extended a finger and said, If you want me to let you go, you need at least 10 million royal grade origin crystals. Gasp! This request raised by Ning Yu not only made Mu Tian suck in a breath of cold air, but even Hu Jian and the surrounding students also sucked in a breath of cold air. An exorbitant demand, truly an exorbitant start. Hu Jian's expression was similarly very ugly. Originally, he thought that Mu Tian could use royal-grade origin crystals to bribe Ning Yu. Who could have thought that Ning Yu was a wolf cub that could not be fed to his fill and was even more sinister and cunning than them? Since that was the case, Hu Jian decided to teach Ning Yu a lesson. But before that, Hu Jian had to finish off the old man opposite him, because the old man's cultivation was the same as his, both peak manifestation realm. The two were equally matched. Old man, I don't care who you are, but this is a personal grudge between the Supreme Nine Purities Temple and Ning Yu. If you interfere, it's going against the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Hu Jian shouted coldly. Her. Ning Yu can represent Danwu College, but can you represent the Supreme Nine Purities Temple? Opposite Hu Jian, the old man said with a faint smile, Humph. Mu Tian's father is the Supreme Nine Purities Temple's 5th Grand Elder. He can naturally represent the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Hu Jian said with a cold snort, I don't want to talk nonsense with you. Anyway, with me around, you can forget about behaving atrociously in Danwu College. Finished saying the sentence, the old man shut his eyes and did not speak any more. Courting death. The old man's words thoroughly stirred up Hu Jian. Even in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, martial artists who dared to talk to him like this were not many. He did not expect that he ran into a rebuff in Danwu College. Swoosh! With a low roar, Mu Tian instantly dashed out, stirring up gusts of wind around him. Buzz! Wherever Mu Tian passed, the void even emitted a slight tremor. Bang! In the next instant, Mu Tian's fist collided with the old man. After the clash, the two figures rapidly retreated. Judging from the distance they retreated, the old man had the upper hand. Old fart! Although it was only a short exchange, Hu Jian could determine that the old man's strength was slightly stronger than his. It was almost impossible for him to kill the old man. However, it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens for the old man to kill him. However, just as Hu Jian was about to use his second move, a scream that sounded like a pig being slaughtered rang out in the area. Hu Jian hurriedly stopped and looked in the direction of the sound. Brat, do you have a death wish? It would have been fine if he did not look, but the moment he did, Hu Jian was on the verge of exploding in anger. In the distance, Ning Yu slapped Mu Tian's face several times, each slap landing on his face. At this moment, Mu Tian's cheeks were extremely swollen, and his head was several times bigger than an ordinary pig's head. Only 100-year-old pig's head could compare to Mu Tian. Of course I want to live. Ning Yu slapped Mu Tian a few more times before stopping. Hu Jian clenched his fist so hard that cracking sounds could be heard, and he shouted in a deep voice, "I think you have a death wish." It's not impossible for me to let Mu Tian go, but I have two requests, Ning Yu said calmly. In fact, when Hu Jian and the old man were fighting, Ning Yu had already learned from Mu Feng about the agreement between the old man and Danmu College. After this attack, the old man would leave Danmu College completely, based on Hu Jian and Mu Tian's anger. Once the old man left, they would definitely start a massacre in Danmu College. Therefore, Ning Yu had to think of a foolproof plan, and the key to this foolproof plan was Mu Tian. Chapter 743. Requirements right now. Not only was Mu Tian's breathing weak, even his eyes were swollen until he could not see anything. Even if Ning Yu played some tricks on him, he had no way of knowing either. Although Hu Jian was paying attention to Ning Yu, he had to pay attention to the elderly man at all times to prevent the elderly man from sneaking an attack. Reaching their level of strength, the slightest distraction, and they might very well be killed mercilessly. After all, Ning Yu was a peak grade 9 alchemy master in his previous life. Hence, he chose the safest method, which was to quietly inject a wisp of soul force into Mu Tian's body. In order to prevent Hu Jian from discovering any inklings, Ning Yu chose to beat Mu Tian into a pig's head. Firstly, he could vent his anger. Secondly, he could divert attention. State your requirements. Hu Jian forcefully suppressed the rage in his heart and said in a solemn voice. Hu Jian could ignore Pei Wen's death, but Mu Tian could not. Once Mu Tian was killed, he would suffer a calamity too. No matter what price he had to pay, he had to protect Mu Tian. Protecting Mu Tian was his bottom line. As for the injuries on Mu Tian's body, he would slowly settle with Ning Yu in the future. The first request, this is between us. I don't wish for you guys to implicate Danmu College. From today onwards, you guys are not allowed to take half a step into Danmu College. Ning Yu said. The second request, take out another 2 million pieces of King Great Essence crystals to redeem Mu Tian. Hearing these two requests of Ning Yu, Hu Jian's expression was very ugly. The second request was not a problem to him at all. 2 million pieces of King Great Essence crystals. He could take it out easily. The first request made him very angry. In Hu Jian's heart, Ning Yu would be killed by him sooner or later. Even if he ran to the ends of the world, it would not work. If he agreed to Ning Yu's first request, and Ning Yu hid in Danmu College for the rest of his life, wouldn't he suffer a loss? Suffering a loss was a small matter. If demonic thoughts were left in his heart, it would have a huge impact on him, impacting the Supreme Realm. One could say that if the demonic thoughts in his heart were not resolved, he could forget about impacting the Supreme Realm for the rest of his life. I know what you're worried about. Don't worry, I won't stay at Danmu College forever. Naturally, Ning Yu knew what Hu Jian was thinking. He said faintly, I will leave Danmu College in 3 to 7 days. To be honest, Ning Yu felt very helpless. He knew that he couldn't push them too hard. Otherwise, they would be the ones to suffer. Sai, my strength is still too low. Ning, you looked at the old man in midair and sighed. All right, just because of what you said, I'll agree to your 2 requests. Hu Jian flicked his sleeves, and a storage bag flew out, flying towards Ning Yu. Hu Jian wasn't afraid that Ning Yu would go back on his word because he knew that Ning Yu wouldn't dare to. Ning Yu was definitely afraid that he would contact the people from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Pa! Ning Yu grabbed the storage pouch firmly and inspected it for a moment before tossing it into his storage ring. Here you go. After that, Ning Yu kicked Mu Tian's butt, sending him flying out. Woo-woo. Mu Tian couldn't even tell his nose from his mouth. All he could do was let out a whimper. Humph. Ning Yu, remember what you said. 3 to 7 days at least. Hu Jian caught Mu Tian and said coldly, "If I don't see you in 7 days, don't blame me for going back on our agreement." After saying that, Hu Jian tore through the void and disappeared with the severely injured Mu Tian. The people from the Supreme Nine Purities temple have appeared in the Great Xia Kingdom. It seems like it's not safe for them to stay in the Great Xia Kingdom anymore. I have to inform them and ask them to leave as soon as possible. After Hu Jian left, the old man's expression was extremely grave. The third chance was already used up in Danwu College, and there was naturally no need for the old man to stay. He tore through the void and vanished in a blink of the eye. When he saw the old man vanishing, Mu Feng just stood up and slumped back onto the ground. "Dean Mu, distribute these king-grade essence crystals and seal up Danwu College. Without my permission, no one is to leave the college." Ning Yu took out a storage pouch from his bosom, which contained 2 million royal-grade origin crystals, and passed it to Mu Feng. "We cannot accept these king-grade essence crystals." Mu Feng knew that there was no such thing as a free lunch. "Just take it. They are Mu Tian's compensation to you." Ning Yu's tone was unquestionable. "In addition, try not to let anyone else know about the things that happened here." "Don't worry. Leave it to me." Since Ning Yu already said it like this, it would be a little unreasonable for Mu Feng to still decline. Keeping the storage bag, Mu Feng said in a clear voice, "Ning Yu's strength is obvious to everyone. I hereby announce that in the next month, Ning Yu will assume the position of the acting dean of Danwu College." Whoosh! Mu Feng's appointment was absolutely shocking. Letting a junior assume the position of acting dean. This was the first time in history. But the strength that Ning Yu displayed was indeed competent for the position of Danwu College's dean. In addition to the 2 million king-grade essence crystals that Ning Yu generously took out, there was actually no one who objected for a moment. "Dean Mu, letting me assume the position of dean, maybe." Ning Yu did not expect that Mu Feng would let him be the dean, and he himself was a little dumbfounded. "Let you be the dean, then be the dean. What's with all the nonsense?" Mu Feng said unyieldingly. "All right then, I'll temporarily be the acting dean for a month. After a month, I'll return the dean position to you." Ning Yu knew Mu Feng's temper. He said helplessly, "In the next 7 days, I'm going to the Pill Cavern to cultivate. If there's anything, contact me immediately." As he spoke, Ning Yu took out a crystal ball and separated a wisp of soul force into it. "As long as I crush the crystal ball, I'll come out of the Pill Cavern immediately." Swoosh! Leaving these words, Ning Yu tore the void and flew towards the Pill Cavern first. Behind Ning Yu, the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast followed closely. As for Ouyang Luin, he was requested by Ning Yu to stay behind to be in charge of Danwu College's safety. "Elder Zhao, go seal off Danwu College. Before Ning Yu exits seclusion, no one is allowed to enter or leave." Seeing that Ning Yu disappeared, Mu Feng began to issue orders. "The rest of you, come to my side to collect your king-grade essence crystals. Everyone has the same amount." Whoosh! Hearing Mu Feng's words, the surrounding students and mentors all revealed heated expressions. 2 million king-grade essence crystals, and there were only 30 to 40 people present. Converting it, everyone would get 50 to 60,000 pieces. In the past, it was very difficult for them to earn 50 to 60,000 pieces of king-grade essence crystals in their entire lives. Now, with a word from Ning Yu, they would get their share. Hence, the numerous students and mentors would definitely support Ning Yu. While everyone was distributing the king-grade essence crystals in a dense forest outside the capital. Rustle! Suddenly, several figures tore through the void and landed in an empty area in the dense forest. Boom! The moment these figures landed, an abnormally terrifying aura instantly soared into the sky. If someone was in the surroundings, they would definitely discover that these martial artists' cultivation was very high. Among the 30 martial artists, the one with the lowest cultivation was at the half-step manifestation realm. Even the black-robed man in the lead had his aura surging out explosively. Peak late-stage manifestation realm. Chapter 744. Malevolence Sect Master. When will we attack the capital? An early-stage manifestation realm cultivator beside the black-robed cultivator asked carefully. There's no hurry. You've just advanced to the early stage of the manifestation realm not long ago. Stabilize your cultivation first. The black-robed martial artist waved his hand and said, Corpse Berserk has already gone to the capital ahead of us. You guys should stabilize your cultivation while waiting for good news from Corpse Berserk. Sect Master. Although Corpse Maniac is the second heavenly king of the Corpsine sect, his cultivation is also at the early stage of the manifestation realm. The warrior at the early stage of the manifestation realm said, You guys are only responsible for stabilizing your cultivation. Don't think about anything else. The black-robed cultivator interrupted the early-stage manifestation realm cultivator and said in a deep voice, We'll leave immediately in 2 days and flatten the capital. Yes. Hearing the black-robed martial artist's words, the surrounding martial artists responded in unison. More than 30 pinnacle experts answered in unison. Their voices resounded through the heavens and into the distance. Whoosh! What these corpse sect cultivators didn't know was that their loud voices had attracted the attention of 2 cultivators not far away. Compared to these 2 martial artists, the black-robed martial artist's strength was not much different, because the cultivation of these 2 martial artists was also at the peak of the late-stage manifestation realm. They should be people from the corpse sect. One of the 2 cultivators said, Should we deal with them? With our strength. Even if we can capture all of them in one fell swoop, it will consume too much of our strength. The gains do not make up for the losses. Another slightly fatter cultivator said, If I'm not wrong, these cultivators should be the top fighting force of the corpse sect's branch. We can take advantage of the fact that their headquarters is empty to strike them. Good idea. The thin martial artist raised his eyebrows and said, According to my observation, these people from the corpse sect should be going to besiege the capital. The slightly plump martial artist continued, There's no time to lose. Let's set off as soon as possible. When the time comes, we can still rush back to watch the show. Whoosh! Whoosh! These 2 martial artists left as soon as they said they would, without the slightest bit of sloppiness. Ning Yu had no idea what was happening outside the capital. At that moment, Ning Yu had already entered the pill cave of Danwu College. Woof! Woof! As soon as Ning Yu entered the pill cave, he heard 2 dogs barking. Needless to say, 2 dogs were barking. Sure enough, Ning Yu looked up and saw that the Dark Emperor and Furball were neck and neck. The heaven-devouring hound is indeed heaven-defying. How long has it been, and it has already recovered to its peak? Ning Yu sighed softly as he sensed the auras emanating from the Dark Emperor and Furball. It was not surprising that he felt that Ning Yu. In such a short time, the Dark Sovereign and Furball had not only recovered to their peak condition, but their strength had even improved. Even if it was him, he wouldn't dare to say that he could reach this level. Chen S's is. Ning Yu first looked at the Dark Emperor and Furball, then at the sky above their heads. Ning ding king. 2. King. King. Ding. Ning 10 king. One had to know that Ning Yu had left the flower bud behind before he left the pill cavern. Ning Yu, I know you are looking for the world. You are looking for that thing. Follow me, King said when he saw Ning Yu's dark expression. Silver winged dragon, twin-horned beast. Find a place to recover. I have something to do. Ning, you also didn't want the silver winged dragon and the twin-horned beast to know that he had the branch of the world tree. He first gave a few instructions, then followed the Dark Emperor's guidance and flew into the distance. Remember, you owe each of us 2 Shangyang pills. Seeing that Ning Yu was about to leave, the silver-winged dragon shouted. And a rebirth pill, twin-horned beast added. Swoosh! Ningyu was focused on the branch of the world tree. Naturally, he did not reply to the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast. Along the way, Ningyu asked King what was going on. After you left, we tried our best to devour the light spots to recover. The Dark Emperor explained. Just as we recovered to our peak state, a huge white speck of light tore through the void and appeared beside us. In order to protect us, the flower bud forcefully fought with the white speck of light. In the end, the white light spot was defeated and fled into the depths of the pill cave. Damn it, this is bad. There is a powerful pill puppet in the depths of the pill cave. Ningyu cursed. Although Ningyu was confident in the flower bud's devouring ability, he had never been to the depths of the pill cave. There might be a peak manifestation realm pill puppet. The flower bud only had 4 petals. There were still 4 petals that had yet to bloom. When devouring by Dei and the rest, Ningyu already knew that the flower bud's devouring ability would grow stronger as the petals bloomed. If all 8 petals were in full bloom, Ningyu would not be worried. That was because the flower bud could fight against a peak manifestation realm pill puppet. Now that the flower bud only had 4 petals, it might not be able to defeat a late manifestation realm pill puppet. Faster! Worried that the flower bud would encounter danger, Ningyu did not hesitate to burn his vital energy to increase his speed. Ningyu's speed had increased a lot after advancing to the yin-yang intermediate stage. Now that he forcefully increased his speed, the Dark Emperor and Fur Ball could not keep up. Swoosh! Swoosh! The Dark Emperor and Fur Ball were not idiots. They turned into a blur and entered the storage ring. Chi-chi! The pill cave was huge. It was so huge that Ningyu had flown for half an hour and had yet to reach the deepest part. However, as Ningyu ventured deeper into the pill cave, the white and golden light spots around him gradually increased and became denser. In the end, the light spots completely blocked his path. Solitaire! Helpless, Ningyu could only take out the red demon sword and slash out. Whoosh! An astonishing sword wave surged out, and the light spots in front of him were scattered. Just like that, Ningyu slashed out every once in a while. When he slashed out for the 50th time, the area in front of him suddenly opened up. The area in front of him suddenly opened up, but Ningyu's expression completely darkened. This was because Ningyu saw that the flower bud was trapped in an array formation in midair not far away from him. Several huge light spots guarded around the flower bud, injecting energy into the array formation. Refine the flower bud. The goal of these light spots was very clear, and that was to refine the flower bud. Damn it! Before Ningyu could say anything, the Dark Emperor and Fur Ball rushed out from the storage ring to rescue the flower bud. Hold on. How could Ningyu allow the Dark Emperor and Fur Ball to mess around? He reached out and grabbed the Dark Emperor and Fur Ball tightly before saying in a low voice, "Come out. If I'm not wrong, you should be the most powerful person in the Pill Cave, the Evil King. I didn't expect you to even know my name. You are indeed not simple." As soon as Ningyu finished speaking, the space in front of him rippled, and then a young woman in purple clothes slowly walked out from within. The young woman was around 20 years old. She wore a purple robe and had beautiful hair. Chapter 745. Purple Oraning, he was not attracted by the young woman in front of him, because Ningyu knew that everything was an illusion. Everything was fabricated. What one heard might not be true, and what one saw might not be true. Jean Dei said that Evil King was the strongest pill puppet in the pill cave, and his cultivation had reached the late stage of creation. Now it seemed that Jean Dei was definitely lying, because the aura of Evil King Purple Spirit in front of him was not the late stage of creation, but the peak of creation. I have to think of a way to save the flower bud. Ning Yu's eyes turned, thinking of a countermeasure. Ning Yu was very clear about his own situation. His current strength was not Evil King Purple Spirit's match. However, Ning Yu did not give up. Since Evil King Purple Spirit did not attack him immediately, it meant that there were two possibilities. First, Evil King Purple Spirit was afraid of him. Of course, this possibility was very small. Second, Evil King Purple Spirit had a favor to ask of him. This possibility was very high. Thinking of this, Ning Yu decided to test Evil King Purple Spirit and said calmly, "Evil King Purple Spirit, tell me your request. What will make you release the flower bud?" Hee, it's easy to talk to smart people. Evil King Purple Spirit laughed lightly and said, "My request is not high. As long as you can successfully bring me out of the pill cave, I will release the flower bud." Bring you out of the pill cave? Ning Yu raised his eyebrows. He did not expect Evil King Purple Spirit to make such a request. Pill puppets were intelligent beings born from the pill cave, and they had a powerful devouring ability. If they left the pill cave, it was very likely that they would cause unpredictable danger to the outside world. "That's right, bring me out of the pill cave." Evil King Purple Spirit nodded. "I'm afraid it will be very difficult. I only have the cultivation of the middle stage of Inyan realm. Even if I promise you, I do not have the strength." Ning Yu shook his head and said, "Unless my cultivation rises to the late stage of Inyan realm, or even the peak of Inyan realm, then there will be a sliver of a possibility of bringing you out of the pill cave. That's simple. I don't have anything else, but I have a lot of energy spots." Evil Monarch Violet Spirit waved his hand, and several huge specks of light appeared in front of Ning Yu. Some were white, some were gold, and there were more than 10 of them. "Your cultivation is at the middle stage of Inyan realm, and your soul force is at the late stage of level 6. I'll give you 2 days to improve your cultivation to the point where you can take me out of the elixir cave. Otherwise, I'll swallow the flower bud and you'll die too. Voila!" As soon as he finished speaking, Violet Spirit's eyes turned cold. He directly tore through the void and disappeared. When the Evil King Violet Spirit disappeared, the flower bud was also taken away, disappearing from the world. Remember, you only have 2 days. In order to remind Ning Yu, after Evil Spirit King Violet Spirit disappeared, a voice still rang out in this area. "Woof woof." After Evil King Violet Spirit left, Furball suddenly broke free from Ning Yu's grasp and flew into the air. "Furball! Holy shit!" Seeing Furball fly out, Ning Yu instinctively wanted to stop him. However, when Ning Yu saw Furball's actions, he opened his mouth wide and was speechless. Furball did not want to fight Evil King Violet Spirit to the death. Instead, he was busy devouring the specks of light in the air. When Evil King Violet Spirit left, he did not take the dozen or so huge specks of light in the air with him. The intelligence of these dozen or so specks of light had already been wiped out by Evil King Violet Spirit, and all that was left was pure energy and soul force. The origin chi contained in each speck of light was comparable to Jean Dei and the others. "Ning Yu, let go of me. I'm going to King, devour the specks of light too." Seeing Furball begin to devour the specks of light, the Dark Emperor shouted, as if the specks of light would be devoured by Furball if he was a step slower. Ning Yu's face was full of black lines. It was not that Ning Yu did not want Furball and the Dark Emperor to devour the specks of light, but Ning Yu was not sure if Evil King Violet Spirit had done anything to these specks of light. Just think about it. If Evil King Violet Spirit had done something to these specks of light, wouldn't it be a wasted effort? Not only would they have to bring Evil King Violet Spirit out of the pill cavern, they would also have to be under his control. "Furball, come back." Ning Yu took a deep breath and berated, "It's not that you can't devour the specks of light, but you have to wait for me to inspect them before you can devour them." "Woof woof." Hearing Ningyu's words, Furball looked up to the sky and barked twice, expressing his dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction was dissatisfaction, but Furball had no intention of disobeying Ningyu. He obediently returned to Ningyu's side and lay down, his eyes staring straight at the specks of light, afraid that they would be completely devoured by Ningyu. Since Furball had become obedient, the Dark Emperor naturally had no choice but to stay where he was. Whoosh! The Dark Emperor and Furball both stopped. Ningyu stomped his feet on the ground, arriving beside the dozen or so specks of light in the blink of an eye. He released his perception and carefully inspected them. Just a martial artist at the middle stage of the Yin-Yang realm. I don't believe you can discover anything. While Ningyu was inspecting the specks of light in the void, Evil King Violet Spirit said darkly, "This body of yours is not bad. Once I successfully leave the pill cavern, I will possess you and enjoy your body." If Ningyu was beside him, he would definitely be very surprised, because Evil King Violet Spirit was not a young woman, nor was he a beautiful woman, but a tall and sturdy man. The reason why Evil King Violet Spirit had disguised himself as a woman was largely to confuse Ningyu and make Ningyu lower his guard. After staying in the pill cavern for so long, Evil King Violet Spirit's intelligence had basically reached the peak, and he was abnormally cunning. Humph, there's something fishy going on. Evil King Violet Spirit was still mocking Ningyu, but Ningyu had already discovered something unusual. I have to say, Evil King Violet Spirit is very smart. Seeing a wisp of purple gas hidden in the specks of light, Ningyu's lips curled up slightly, and he thought to himself, "Since you want to control me so much, I'll beat you at your own game and see what tricks you're playing." Ningyu's expression was devoid of joy or sorrow as he controlled the storage ring to erupt with a suction force, sucking all the dozen or so specks of light in the air into the storage ring. Sun Jiangwen, activate the array formation and expel that wisp of purple gas from the specks of light. Ningyu knew his own capabilities. Although he had discovered Evil King Violet Spirit's tricks, there was no way to expel the purple gas as soon as possible. Once it dragged on for too long, it would most likely attract Evil King Violet Spirit's attention. With Sun Jiangwen's help, everything would be easily resolved. Buzz buzz! Sun Jiangwen's movements were very fast, especially after he had the 2 million royal grade essence crystals provided by Ningyu. Things that required several hours in the past could be done in a few minutes now. Swish, swish, swish. 5 minutes later, several huge specks of light rushed out from the storage ring. These specks of light were divided into 4 portions. 2 portions were kept by Ningyu, and the other 2 portions were devoured by the Dark Emperor and Furball. Of the 2 portions of specks that Ningyu left behind, one was a white speck of light, and the other was a golden speck of light. Inside the white speck of light was pure essence chi, and inside the golden speck of light was pure soul force. Devour. Chapter 746. Eruption Boom. As soon as Ningyu swallowed the white speck of light, he felt as if the speck of light exploded in his mouth. Violent yuan qi spread in all directions. Spirit transformation art. Ning, you wouldn't miss this rare opportunity. He immediately used the spirit transformation art and started to absorb the violent yuan qi in his mouth. Following the guidance of the spirit transformation art, the yuan qi in the speck of light entered Ningyu's sea of consciousness. Ningyu wasn't in a hurry. He had just advanced to the middle stage of Yin-Yang realm. If he rushed to the late stage of Yin-Yang realm immediately, it wouldn't be good for his future cultivation. Therefore, Ningyu decided to take it slow. Since there were still 2 days, there was no point in rushing. Bang! Ningyu wasn't in a hurry, but the Dark Emperor was impatient. With so many white specks of light and so much pure yuan qi, the Dark Emperor definitely didn't want to miss it. He, after devouring all this pure yuan qi, I can easily advance to the late stage of Yin-Yang realm." The Dark Emperor chuckled. He didn't care about the consequences and directly swallowed the light spots that Ningyu gave him. Fortunately, the Dark Emperor was a purple gold sky swallowing dog. Otherwise, his stomach would definitely explode from swallowing so much Yuan Qi at once. The Dark Emperor didn't need to refine the Yuan Qi himself like Ningyu. After swallowing all the Yuan Qi, he sat on the ground and entered a dormant state. Furball was also a purple gold sky swallowing dog, so his bloodline power was much denser than the Dark Emperor's. The most important thing was that Furball had awakened his bloodline power and awakened 20% of it. The sky swallowing dog race had a special characteristic. The speed at which they devoured and refined Yuan Qi would become faster and faster with the awakening of their bloodline power. If they awakened 100% of their bloodline power, they could easily devour and refine all these specks of light. Even so, Furball's speed was many times faster than the Dark Emperor's. Half a day later, bang! A muffled sound came from Furball's little head. Woof woof! After the muffled sound, Furball revealed a look of surprise. This was because at this moment, Furball had broken through the shackles of the middle stage of Yin-Yang stage, advancing to the late stage of Yin-Yang stage. F***CK, I need to speed up. Although the Dark Emperor was in a dormant state, he had split out a wisp of his perception to keep an eye on Furball's movements. When the Dark Emperor saw that Furball had advanced to Yin-Yang late stage, the Dark Emperor quickly retracted his senses and focused on breaking through. Time flew, and in the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. Whoosh! All of a sudden, the Dark Emperor's eyes sprang open as an aura comparable to Furball's rose. Yin-Yang late stage. After 2 days of devouring and refining, the Dark Emperor successfully advanced to the Yin-Yang late stage. On the other hand, Ningyu was still in the intermediate Yin-Yang realm. His aura was stable, showing no signs of breaking through. Why is there no reaction from Ningyu? Has he encountered a bottleneck? Looking at Ningyu's appearance, the Dark Emperor asked doubtfully, "Woof, woof." Furball nodded, seemingly agreeing with the Dark Emperor's words. Whoosh! Right at this moment, a red flying sword flew out from Ningyu's body. "Redskin, you came at the right time. You should know about Ningyu's situation. Tell us what's going on." Looking at the red flying sword in midair, the Dark Emperor said hurriedly, "Ningyu did not encounter a bottleneck. Everything is normal. The Red Fiend did not transform into his human form and was still within the Red Fiend sword. That's impossible. Furball and I have both advanced to Yin-Yang late stage. Although Ningyu is much weaker than us, there should be some movement." The Dark Emperor said doubtfully, "Furthermore, the 2-day agreement is coming soon." That purple spirit! Before the Dark Emperor could finish his sentence, his mouth opened slightly as he stared at Ningyu, who was not far away. Whoosh! Ningyu slammed his hands on the ground and leaped up. Boom! 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 In midair, an extremely terrifying aura burst out from Ningyu's body. Pissed! Sensing the terrifying aura emanating from Ningyu, the Dark Emperor's face was filled with fear, even though he had advanced to Yin-Yang late stage. This is Yin-Yang late stage, or Yin-Yang peak stage, or should I say, half-step manifestation realm. The reason why the Dark Emperor could not determine Ningyu's true cultivation level was because the aura that Ningyu was emitting was simply too terrifying. It was so terrifying that he did not dare to get close. Judging from the aura alone, Ningyu was at Yin-Yang late stage. However, judging from the aura, Ningyu was a genuine Yin-Yang peak stage and could even be compared to a half-step manifestation realm martial artist. Gulp! Not only was the Dark Emperor surprised, but the Red Fiend in the Red Fiend sword also swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Ningyu's state was indeed very bewildering. Unless one was a few levels stronger than Ningyu, they would not be able to discover Ningyu's true cultivation level. Swoosh! The aura that emanated from Ningyu's body only lasted for a second. After that, Ningyu retracted the aura back into his body. Late stage yin-yang peak stage. Soul power of pinnacle grade 6. Feeling the violent fluctuation of primordial qi in his sea of consciousness and the strength of the soul power in his body, Ningyu nodded in satisfaction. 2 days wasn't long, but it wasn't short either. After 2 days of dormancy, Ningyu finally made a breakthrough at the last moment. Not only did his soul power advance to pinnacle grade 6, but his cultivation had also advanced to late-stage yin-yang peak stage. He was only a small step away from pinnacle yin-yang peak stage. In just 3 days, Ningyu made consecutive breakthroughs from early-stage yin-yang peak stage to late-stage yin-yang peak stage. Furthermore, his soul power had advanced from early-stage grade 6 to pinnacle grade 6. If outsiders were to know about this advancement speed, they would probably be dumbfounded. One must know that even Mu Tian, the first-rate genius of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, could not achieve this. Buzz. With Ningyu's advancement success, evil monarch Violet's spirit naturally appeared from the void. Looking at evil monarch Violet's spirit in front of him, Ningyu said indifferently, "This body of yours is not attractive to me. It's better to be yourself. Humph. I'll let you show off for a while. Once we leave the pill cave, I'll let you know what cruelty is." Evil monarch Violet spirit snorted in his heart, but on the surface he said, "Not simple indeed. It seems that your current strength is enough to bring me out of the pill cave." As she spoke, evil monarch Violet spirit transformed from a young girl into a burly man. Evil monarch Violet spirit, I would like to ask, how many Creation Realm pill puppets are there in the pill cave? Ningyu did not leave the pill cave immediately. Currently, the Creation Realm pill puppets in the pill cave no longer exist, but after a period of time, Creation Realm pill puppets will be born again, evil monarch Violet spirit said. What do you mean? Ningyu asked doubtfully. Since I'm going to leave the pill cave, there's no harm in telling you. Chapter 747. Here it comes. I'm not afraid to tell you that the reason I was able to advance to the peak of the manifestation realm is because I devoured all the light spots that were ejected from the void last time. I didn't even touch the slightest bit of the other pill puppets, Evil King Violet Spirit said proudly. If that's the case, if you devour all the light spots that are ejected next time, won't you be able to advance to the Supremacy Realm? Ningyu said in surprise. The Supremacy Realm? Hee, you're thinking too simply. Evil King Violet Spirit smiled faintly and said, although the void will eject light spots every once in a while, at the same time, there might be even more powerful pill puppets appearing in the void. Cut the crap and quickly bring me out of the pill cavern. Otherwise, I'll devour your flower bud. After saying these words, Evil King Violet Spirit seemed a little impatient. He split his perception to control the flower bud and said in a deep voice, "Don't think of playing any tricks. As long as you dare to have any crooked thoughts, I'll immediately destroy the flower bud." How could I dare to play tricks? The flower bud is in your hands. I'll naturally be well behaved for fear of harming the innocent. Ningyu said, That's right. I should make you hold back for fear of harming the innocent. Evil King Violet Spirit pondered for a moment before exploding out. Evil King Violet Spirit's speed was very fast. In almost the blink of an eye, he arrived beside the Dark Emperor and Furball. Woof woof, you're courting death. Seeing Evil King Violet Spirit appear beside them, the Dark Emperor and Furball both shouted. Noisy! In Evil King Violet Spirit's heart, the Dark Emperor and Furball were just small fries who couldn't do much. But it was precisely these small fries who couldn't do much that were Ningyu's friends. Evil King Violet Spirit shouted in a low voice. A monstrous pressure was unleashed from his body and pressed down on the Dark Emperor and Furball. The Dark Emperor and Furball were only at the yin-yang late stage. being suppressed by the aura of the manifestation realm. They only struggled for 3 seconds before becoming well-behaved. Stay with the flower bud for now. Once I leave the pill cave, I'll let you go immediately. Evil King Violet Spirit placed the Dark Emperor, Furball, and the flower bud together before turning to look at Ningyu. I'm Dan Chi, so it's not very realistic for me to leave through the pill cavern's exit. I can only settle for the next best thing, tearing open the void and leaving. Tearing the void? I don't have that ability. Ning, you wanted to see what Evil King Violet Spirit had up his sleeves. Without batting an eyelid, he said, "As long as you can tear the void, I have no objections." Haha, you will definitely leave the task of tearing the void to me. You just need to let me enter your body the moment I leave. Evil King Violet Spirit laughed. You are a human. I can hide a lot of things from you by hiding in your body. The fox's tail has been exposed. No wonder he wanted to do something in the light spot. It turns out that he wanted to enter my body. If I'm not wrong, he definitely wants to take over my body. At this moment, Ning Yu thought of a possibility. Generally, as long as a martial artist with a high cultivation base could erase the soul force and spiritual intelligence of a martial artist with a low cultivation base, there was a certain possibility of succeeding in taking over the body. There's no time to lose. You try to tear the void first. I'll rest and try to succeed in one go. Ning Yu definitely wouldn't expose Evil King Violet Spirit. He needed to use this period of time to plan properly and prevent himself from failing miserably. All right, seeing that Ning Yu didn't have much of a reaction, Evil King Violet Spirit let out a low roar. Immediately after, violent Yuan Qi fluctuations appeared on his wrist, constantly bombarding the void. Qi, Qi, Qi. Following Evil King Violet Spirit's bombardment, the originally quiet void suddenly became lively. Although Evil King Violet Spirit was a peak creation realm Dan Qi, it would be extremely difficult for him to destroy the pill cavern and the void outside without an hour or two. While Evil King Violet Spirit bombarded the void, Ningyu split his perception to pay attention to the situation around him while secretly circulating the spiritual art and began to devour and refine the royal grade origin crystal. Shwa, shwa, shwa. In the evening, in a certain void in the capital, suddenly, several figures tore the void and appeared. Sect Master, do we start killing here or go to Dongwu College first? Among these martial artists, an early-stage creation realm martial artist asked. Let's go to Dongwu College first, the black-robed martial artist, called Sect Master, said in a deep voice. The black-robed martial artist was the Sect Master of the Corpse Sect. At this time, the black-robed martial artist was very angry, extremely angry. 2 days and 2 nights passed. He didn't even receive any news from Corpse Maniac, let alone good news. The black-robed martial artist and Corpse Maniac had said that regardless of whether they could take down Dongwu College or not, they had to send back news at any time. Since Corpse Maniac didn't send back any news, it meant that he was most likely in danger. All right, let's start with Dongwu College first. The early-stage creation realm martial artist said in a clear voice. Bang! As soon as the early-stage creation realm martial artist said the word kill, the black-robed martial artist kicked his butt and said angrily, kill a few times. When we reach Dongwu College, you all have to listen to my orders. The black-robed martial artist was very careful. This time he had brought the top martial artists of the Corpse Sect. If they were ambushed, the consequences would be unimaginable. Even a middle-stage creation realm Corpse Maniac could be killed. It was conceivable that the 30 peak experts he brought would not have much of an advantage. Let's go! In the next moment, the black-robed martial artist gave a low grunt and took the lead to dash towards the Dan Wu Academy. Behind the black-robed martial artist, 30 peak experts followed closely. Wait! When he was less than a kilometer away from Dongwu College, The black-robed martial artist abruptly stopped in midair. Did I judge wrongly? The black-robed martial artist divided a bit of his perception and carefully probed the surroundings. After a while, the black-robed martial artist withdrew his perception and murmured, "Is there something wrong with my perception?" In fact, it was no wonder that the black-robed martial artist was so careful. He did feel a terrifying aura just now. However, this aura disappeared in a flash, making it difficult for him to grasp it. In addition to the main entrance of Danwu College, there are 4 other entrances. Leave 2 peak Yin-Yang realm martial artists with me. The other 28 martial artists will kill their way into Danwu College from the other 4 entrances. The black-robed martial artist pondered for a moment and said coldly, "No matter who you meet, kill without mercy." Crash! After the black-robed martial artist gave the order, the experts of the corpse sect behind him dispersed and disappeared in the blink of an eye. "Let's go." Seeing that everyone had disappeared, the black-robed martial artist moved toward the main entrance of Danwu College. "Elder Hu, do you know who these martial artists are? Are they the helpers Ning you found?" What the black-robed martial artist didn't know was that when he was walking toward the main entrance of Danwu College, Mutian said in a deep voice in an area in the void, "From the aura emitted by these martial artists, it can be determined that they are from the corpse sect." Hu Jian shook his head and said lightly, "I have investigated the distribution of forces in the Great Xia Kingdom. The corpse sect has been coveting Danwu College and the Great Xia Kingdom's royal family for a long time. So, they are not the helpers Ning you found." Chapter 748. The Prelude to the Storm Chapter 748 Boom. In the evening, the originally quiet capital of the Xia Kingdom was instantly set ablaze with a deafening explosion. Whoosh! Many martial artists left their homes and came to the streets of the capital. If I'm not wrong, the sound should have come from Danwu College. An early primal core martial artist murmured as he stared in the direction of the explosion. "You indeed guessed correctly. The explosion came from the Danwu Academy," a middle-stage primal core martial artist said beside this early-stage primal core martial artist. "Could it be that someone dares to make a move against Danwu College?" On the other side, a peak primal core martial artist thought of a possibility. His eyes widened as he said in a low voice, "Whoosh!" The peak primal core martial artist's voice had just landed, and it caused a huge uproar in the surroundings. The Danwu Academy was a colossus. In the Great Xia Kingdom, apart from the imperial family going all out, the other factions were unable to shake it even a little bit. At this time, which force had the guts to make a move against Danwu College? No. In the Xia Kingdom, other than the royal family, there is another force that can compete with Danwu College. They even have the chance to eliminate Danwu College. Suddenly, the peak primal core martial artist who had just spoken shouted, "Hiss!" The words of the pinnacle of the primal core stage immediately caused the surrounding onlookers to suck in a cold breath. No one was stupid. They naturally knew which force the peak primal core martial artist was talking about. The corpse sect. In the Xia Kingdom, if Danwu College and the royal family were the super forces, then the corpse sect was the super force. Even if Danwu College and Danwu College joined forces, they might not be able to compete with the corpse sect. Smack! Just as the crowd was feeling afraid, in the conference hall of Danwu College, Mu Feng slammed his palm on the seat beneath him. Mu Feng was furious. Recently, Danwu College had been on a bad streak. All kinds of things happened one after another. First, when they went to the Coiling Dragon Ridge, they were chased by the 2 heavenly kings of the Yin Corpse sect. Fortunately, Ningyu appeared to help. Otherwise, they would have most likely died. After returning to Danwu College, he met the 2nd heavenly king of the Corpse Yin sect, Corpse Maniac. After dealing with the zombie, Chang Kuin brought 2 peak experts from the Blood God Palace to rebel. After settling a series of matters, he met Mu Tian the Freak. Most importantly, there was a martial artist at the peak of the creation realm behind Mu Tian. Fortunately, these matters were resolved one by one without paying too much of a price. Now, someone had launched an attack on Danwu College. Unlucky year. To the Danwu Academy, it was truly an unlucky year. Forefather Giomo, tell us about the current situation. Although he was angry, Mu Feng was not an impulsive fledgling. Ningyu was in closed-door cultivation in the Pill Cave, so he could only shoulder the safety of Danwu College by himself. The burden on his shoulders was very heavy, and the slightest bit of carelessness could cause Danwu College to fall into an irrecoverable situation. Therefore, Mu Feng forced himself to calm down, to the point that it was scary. There are a total of 5 entrances to Danwu College. Apart from the main entrance, the other 4 entrances are all being attacked by mysterious people. Forefather Giomo took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, according to reliable sources, the mysterious people are from the Corpse Een sect. Swish! Hearing Forefather Giomo's words, the elders and mentors in the hall all revealed a look of horror. Attacking from 4 entrances at the same time, it seemed that the Corpse Een sect's forces were very big this time. Everyone, don't relax. I have already activated the arrays at the 4 entrances. It will be difficult for the Corpse Een sect to attack Danwu College for at least an hour. Seeing that everyone's morale had dropped, Forefather Giomo said in a clear voice, "What we need to do is to use this hour to adjust to our best state as soon as possible. I have checked that the Corpse Een sect has sent a total of about 30 cultivators. As long as everyone works together, we will definitely be able to catch them all." Mu Feng knew that Forefather Giomo's words could only temporarily appease everyone. Once the Corpse Een sect attacked Danwu College, everyone would be finished. Their top priority now was to contact the other forces in the capital as soon as possible. From the looks of it, the Corpse Een sect's high-ranking combat power had come out in full force. Just relying on Danwu College was far from enough to deal with the high-ranking combat power of the Corpse Een sect. Only by allying with the other first-rate forces would they have a chance of survival. Thinking up to here, Mu Feng's eyes slowly swept across the hall and finally fell on Ouyang Luan. Ouyang Luan was the imperial family's ancestor. As long as the imperial family was willing to help, Danwu College would be able to hold on for a while. There is no need to say anything else. This matter is not just a matter of Danwu College. It is a matter of the entire Great Xia country. Without waiting for Mu Feng to speak, Ouyang Luan solemnly said, "There is indeed a mysterious team in the imperial family, but that mysterious team only listens to my orders. They will not listen to anyone else. Therefore, I need to leave Danwu College and return to the imperial rumble." Before Ouyang Luan's voice fell, another heaven-shaking rumble sounded. Not good. Old Ancestor Giomo, bring everyone to guard the other 4 entrances. I'll go to the main entrance to have a look. Hearing the rumble, Mu Feng's expression changed drastically. He hurriedly ordered before tearing the void apart and flying toward the main entrance of Danwu College. Damn it! Mu Feng's departure gave Ouyang Luan hope to leave Danwu College. However, just as he was about to tear the void apart, a familiar voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Ouyang Luan cursed inwardly as he changed his direction and flew toward the direction that was designated in his mind. The departure of Mu Feng and Ouyang Luan caused the elders and instructors in the hall to look at each other. They did not know what to do. Seeing everyone in a daze, old Ancestor Giomo scolded, "What are you all standing there for? Everyone split into 4 groups and guard the other 4 entrances, no matter what." Hearing old Ancestor Giomo's scolding, everyone did not dare to be negligent. They orderly split into 4 groups and flew toward the 4 entrances. As for old Ancestor Giomo, he chose to go to the main entrance of Danwu College. Old Ancestor Giomo was a half-step manifestation stage martial artist. His perception was very strong. At the main entrance of Danwu College, he could sense an extremely powerful aura. This aura had even reached the mastery stage of the manifestation stage. Mu Feng's cultivation base was only at the early stage of the manifestation stage. If he were to fight against a mastery stage martial artist, he would definitely die. Old ancestor Jew, Mo muttered to himself as he flew. I hope the old ancestors from the other first-rate forces in the capital will realize the severity of the problem. Although Danwu College had another powerhouse at the peak of the intermediate stage of the manifestation stage other than Mu Feng. Even a martial artist at the peak of the intermediate stage of the manifestation stage would not have a good ending if he were to fight against a mastery stage martial artist from the corpse sect. Moreover, the corpse sect was an expert in playing with corpses. Chapter 749. Triple Chop. Chapter 749 Triple Chop. At the main entrance of Danwu College, the current sect master of corpse sect, corpse art, stood in place in a black robe. Although the main entrance of Danwu College was protected by a powerful array, it was not a big deal for corpse art, who was in the late stage of the creation realm. Corpse puppets had made ample preparations for attacking the capital and the Danwu Academy this time. A mere array was not a problem for him. Swoosh! After corpse art broke the array, he wanted to step into Danwu College, but Mu Feng tore through the void and blocked his way. Corpse art did not force his way in. Instead, he put down his right foot and said with a smile, Mu Feng, Danwu College's dean. Early stage of the creation realm. Corpse art, corpse sect master. Mu Feng's expression was solemn as he said in a deep voice, Late stage of the creation realm. Corpse art's lips curled up as he said, You can still be so calm after seeing me. Your courage is indeed commendable. Buzz. As soon as the word commendable fell, corpse art rose from the ground and charged at Mu Feng at an astonishing speed. Corpse art was not the kind of person to waste time. The reason why he did not attack immediately was because he was very careful. He wanted to make sure that Mu Feng did not have any backup plans. After all, this was Danwu College, so it was better to be careful. After confirming that Mu Feng did not have any backup plans, corpse art decided not to waste any more time and started killing. Not good. Although Mu Feng's cultivation was lower than corpse art's, he was still in the early stage of the creation realm. It was very difficult for corpse art to kill him in one move. Crack! Mu Feng gathered essence chi on his wrist and threw a backhand punch, which collided with corpse art's fist. After one move, corpse art was unharmed and continued to attack. As for Mu Feng, he was not so lucky. A few bones in Mu Feng's palm broke, and beads of sweat dripped down his forehead. Old Dean, be careful! Just as corpse art's second punch was about to hit Mu Feng, a figure suddenly tore through the void and blocked the punch for Mu Feng. Bang! Pucci! Without a doubt, the cultivator who had blocked this punch for Mu Feng was old ancestor Jiumo. However, with old ancestor Jiumo's half-step manifestation realm cultivation, the situation was naturally very bad for him to block this punch for Mu Feng. Patriarch Jiumo's body slammed heavily onto the ground, and he spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. His aura instantly dropped from the half-step manifestation realm to the Yin-Yang realm, and then to the origin core realm. Furthermore, it was still descending. The corpse art's attack was not to be trifled with. The fact that ancestor Jiumo hadn't been killed in a single punch was already a blessing in disguise. You're pretty good as a headmaster. Someone actually took the blow for you. Corpse Execution curled his lips and stared at Mu Feng. Unfortunately, you might not be so lucky with the next move. Xiao. In order to kill Mu Feng as soon as possible, the corpse mantra did not hold back in the slightest and used all of his strength. Not to mention Mu Feng, who was in the initial stage of the manifestation realm. Even a middle-stage manifestation realm martial artist would not dare to say that he would be able to withstand the full blow of a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist. Chi. Things were always wonderful. Corpse Mantra's murderous punch was still unable to kill Mufong. This was because Corpse Mantra's punch did not hit Mufong, but the old man who had appeared from the void. A slap in the face. A naked slap in the face. Corpse Mantra had just said that Mufong would not be so lucky. Who would have thought that Mufang's luck was still so good? Old fart, you're already so old. Yet you still came out to meddle in this matter. I think you're tired of living. With Corpse Mantra's personality, he would definitely retaliate after being slapped in the face. Furthermore, the old man's cultivation was not very high, only at the middle stage of the manifestation realm. Corpse Mantra knew the power of his punch just now. Up until now, there had not been a single middle stage manifestation realm martial artist who could withstand it 100%. The old man in front of him looked fine on the surface, but Corpse Mantra could determine that the old man had definitely suffered heavy injuries. Since you're seeking death, I'll fulfill your wish. After a low shout, Corpse Mantra's figure gradually became illusory. Mufong, leave with old ancestor Gomo. I'll temporarily take care of this. Damn it. Seeing that Corpse Mantra had disappeared, the old man said in a deep voice. However, before the old man could finish his sentence, his pupils slightly shrank and a trace of fear appeared on his face. Without any warning, Corpse Mantra had already appeared beside the old man. This time, Corpse Mantra's eyes emitted a frightening light. The purple flame on his fist danced, and his punch brought along gusts of wind as it landed on the old man's chest. Puff! The huge force that came from his chest caused the old man to spit out a mouthful of blood, and his aura rapidly declined. In just a few seconds, the old man's aura had already fallen from the middle stage of the manifestation realm to the peak of the Yin-Yang realm, and it was still falling. Crack, crack. Looking at the old man's miserable state, Mufang's fists made cracking sounds as his heart sank to the bottom. The old man's cultivation was at the peak of the middle stage of the manifestation realm, and he was the strongest person in Damu College. Even the old man was not Corpse Mantra's opponent. From this, it could be seen that the others were even more helpless against Corpse Mantra, as long as Senior doesn't leave. At this moment, Mufong thought of the Senior who was at the peak of the manifestation realm. If he did not use the third chance, he naturally would not be afraid of Corpse Mantra. However, Mufong neglected one point. If he did not use the third chance, Hu Jian might even flatten Damu College. There were two sides to everything. There were pros and cons, and it could not be forced. Mufong, this is the second time in a row. Let's see who can save you the third time. Corpse Mantra kicked the old man away and slowly walked toward Mufong. Corpse Mantra's speed was very slow. A short distance of 12 meters took him a few minutes to walk. After a few minutes, Corpse Mantra's lips curled up and he laughed sinisterly. Mufong, if someone comes to save you this time, I will twist my head off and let you use it as a chamber pot. Bang! In order to prevent any accidents from happening, Corpse Mantra waved his sleeves, and in an instant, a cold light swept out and attacked Mufong. A crisp sound rang out in the area. Mufang's ending was very miserable. Even though Mufong wasn't killed, he wasn't far from death in his current state. If Corpse Mantra did not want to force Mufong to tell him the location of the pill cave and how to open it, Mufong would have already been killed. After seriously injuring Mufong, Corpse Mantra stood in place, closed his eyes, and released his perception. After a while, Mufong retracted his perception, and his face was a little ugly. What a waste! After so long, you can't even break a small array. I spent so much money to train you. Corpse Mantra's face was extremely cold when he felt that the other people of the Corpse sect were still busy breaking the array. You too look after Mufong and the others. I will be back soon. Corpse Mantra let out a low roar, then tore through the void and flew toward the entrance of Donwu College that was closest to him. When the two corpse sect martial artists heard Corpse Mantra's words, they looked at each other and obediently stayed in place. Although they were experts of the corpse sect, their cultivation was only at the peak of the Yin-Yang realm. If a manifestation realm martial artist appeared at this time, wouldn't they die? Chapter 750. Impact. Rumor has it that Donwu College once had a martial artist at the peak of the manifestation realm. What's going on now? The two corpse sect martial artists didn't know that corpse execution didn't leave immediately but hid in the void. Moreover, corpse execution also left something unique to the corpse sect in their bodies. Once that thing was detonated, even a martial artist at the peak of the manifestation realm would be seriously injured. Wait a little longer. Corpse execution was very patient. He was determined to wait for a martial artist at the peak of the manifestation realm to appear. Moreover, corpse execution didn't believe that there was only one martial artist at the intermediate stage of the manifestation realm in Donwu College. He hid in the void. Even if he couldn't wait for a martial artist at the peak of the manifestation realm, it would be worth it to wait for a few hidden martial artists at the intermediate stage of the manifestation realm. Corpse execution's idea was very simple. Since he had come to Donwu College, he had to catch them all in one fell swoop. He couldn't let any martial artist at the manifestation realm escape. After all, the lethality of a martial artist at the manifestation realm was extremely terrifying. A martial artist at the manifestation realm who wanted to hide would be difficult to find even with the strength of the corpse sect. While corpse execution was hiding in the void waiting, in the depths of the pill cave. Get ready, I'm going to break open the void. After more than an hour of preparation, Evil King Violet's spirit adjusted his mental state to its peak. The most important thing was that there was violent energy pulsating in Evil King Violet Spirit's hands. The pulsating energy in Evil King Violet Spirit's left hand was pure Yuan Qi, while the pulsating energy in his right hand was pure soul power. Evil King Violet Spirit was a pill puppet. He had swallowed a lot of white and golden light spots. Now that he wanted to break open the void, he naturally needed to use pure Yuan Qi and pure soul power. Don't worry, I'm well prepared, Ningyu said in a deep voice. Go. Evil King Violet Spirit took one last look at Ningyu, and an undetectable smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Then Evil King Violet Spirit shouted and suddenly pushed out his hands. Xiu! Xiu! As Evil King Violet Spirit pushed out his hands, two terrifying waves suddenly shot out from the left and right. Chi-chi! These two terrifying waves suddenly joined together in the air and blasted toward a point in the void. In an instant, the space in this area suddenly shook. The shaking didn't last for too long. A minute later, the space returned to its previous calm. Ka-cha! Then, a crisp cracking sound rang out in the area. Ka-cha! Ka-cha! Following that, a series of cracking sounds could be heard. The space is about to break. In 5 seconds, I will enter your body and lie dormant. Suddenly, Evil King Violet Spirit's voice sounded in Ningyu's mind. Hearing this voice, Ningyu's heart skipped a beat. However, his expression did not change as he said, Don't worry. When the time comes, I will open my mind and allow you to enter my sea of consciousness. Drip, drip. Time passed second by second. With every passing second, the cracking sounds in the air grew louder. Rumble. When the 5th second arrived, the cracking sound turned into a rumbling sound, and a waist-thick crack appeared in the void. Relax your mind. In a flash, Evil King Violet Spirit shouted in a low voice. Ning Yu's figure flashed. As he rushed toward the crack, he relaxed his mind. Swoosh! The crack in the void only appeared for a second. A second later, the crack returned to its original state. But it was in this second that Ningyu firmly grasped it and entered the crack. As for evil King Violet Spirit, he entered Ningyu's sea of consciousness and lay dormant. He restrained his aura, not daring to release it in the slightest. Even so, the moment Ningyu entered the crack, evil King Violet Spirit still felt the terror of death. Fortunately, the terror of death didn't last for too long. That feeling of terror quickly disappeared. Buzz. At the same time, in the sky above Danwu College, the space suddenly split open, and a figure suddenly shot out from the void. Look, who is that? The person who appeared from the void above Danwu College is most likely someone from Danwu College. I also know that it's someone from Danwu College. Let me ask you now, who is he? How the hell would I know who he is? If you want to know, why don't you ask yourself? On the streets of the capital, everyone was curious about the identity of the martial artist who tore open the void. However, at this critical moment, no one dared to go near Danwu College. They could only discuss it from afar. If they went near Danwu College now, only death awaited them. Ningyu! The people outside the capital did not know who the martial artist who appeared from the void was, but the people from Danwu College did not forget Ningyu, especially the elders and mentors of Danwu College. When they saw Ningyu, it was as if they had seen their savior, and they all breathed a sigh of relief. Ningyu has come out of seclusion. We can be saved this time. Yes, Ningyu is very strong. No wonder. He is the first holy son of Danwu College. What first holy son? Ningyu is the acting dean. Do you know the acting dean? A person who had seen Ningyu's strength said in a deep voice, "Everyone hold on. With the acting dean here, the people from Corpsine sect will not be able to cause too much trouble." Anyone who had seen Ningyu in battle admired Ningyu very much. Ningyu could easily defeat Mutian and blackmail Hujian, who was at the peak of fate state. This was enough to show Ningyu's strength. Moreover, the aura that Ningyu exuded now seemed to be stronger than 2 days ago. 2 days ago, Ningyu's cultivation was at the middle stage of yin-yang state. Now he had probably reached the late stage of yin-yang state, or even the peak stage of yin-yang state. With such a speed of advancement, it was no wonder that some people admired Ningyu very much. Something doesn't seem right. With so many people seeing Ningyu, Mu Feng naturally also saw it clearly. However, from Ningyu's expression, Mu Feng seemed to see a kind of pain. Although Ningyu deliberately hid the feeling of pain, it was still discovered by Mu Feng's keen perception. A warrior at the late stage of fate state. In the air, Ningyu had his hands behind his back. His eyes slightly narrowed as he stared at the void above the main entrance of Danwu College and murmured, "This is troublesome. Puchi." Before Ningyu's words fell, he spat out a big mouthful of blood and his body fell straight down. Crash! Apart from the people from the Danwu Academy, even the corpse executioners were dumbfounded by the sudden change. Originally, when Ningyu appeared, Corpse Jew thought that he was a tough nut to crack. This was because Corpse Jew felt a trace of the aura of the peak of fate state from Ningyu. However, the sudden change completely subverted Corpse Jew's understanding. He must have swallowed something with the aura of the fate state, causing chi deviation. Corpse Jew frowned and made a decision instantly. He would go to Ningyu's place. Corpse Jew wanted to see what this martial artist was capable of. After all, the moment Ningyu appeared, Corpse Jew could clearly feel that the suppressed anger in Danwu College had lessened a lot. A warrior at the late stage of yin-yang state could cause such an impact. It was enough to show the status of this warrior at the late stage of yin-yang state in Danwu College. Chapter 751 Purple Light Spot. Chapter 751 Purple Light Spot. Since he had made his decision, Corpse Jew directly shot out from the void and flew in the direction of Ningyu at an astonishing speed. Not good, it's Corpse Jew. Seeing Corpse Jew appear from the void, Mu Feng's expression changed greatly, and he hurriedly shouted, "Ningyu, little Pucci!" Before Mu Feng could finish his warning, the corpse sect martial artist next to him kicked his chest. The huge force caused him to spit out a large mouthful of blood, and his already weak aura became even weaker. Old Dean! Mu Feng's miserable state made Old Ancestor Jiao Mo very angry. Old Ancestor Jiao Mo struggled to stand up, but he was heavily stepped on by another corpse sect martial artist, making him unable to move. Humph! I advise you to be obedient and wait for the sect master to return. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what will happen. The corpse sect martial artist kicked Mu Feng again and said sinisterly, "Hiss!" This kick caused Mu Feng to suck in a breath of cold air and faint on the spot. Swoosh! On the other side, Corpse Ju's speed was very fast. Almost in an instant, Corpse Ju arrived at the area where Ningyu had landed. However, in this slightly empty area, Corpse Ju didn't see Ningyu. Not to mention Ningyu. There wasn't even a shadow of a living person. Corpse Ju obviously didn't expect this situation. He stood on the spot and quietly released his perception. This doesn't make sense. He shouldn't have disappeared for no reason. Corpse Ju frowned, but he didn't give up. He continued to increase his perception and carefully probed the surrounding area. Corpse Ju made up his mind to find Ning, no matter what. Even if he had to pay a great price, he wouldn't hesitate. This was because Ning Yu's status in Danwu College was even higher than Mu Feng's. Such a person must know some secrets of Danwu College. Kacha! What Corpse Ju didn't know was that when he released his perception, a devouring and anti-devouring battle was taking place in the void in front of him. The strength of the two devouring parties did not seem to be equal. One was at the peak of the creation realm, while the other was at the late stage of the Yin-Yang realm. However, the late-stage Yin-Yang martial artist had the help of two dogs. The martial artist at the peak of the creation realm was Evil King Purple Spirit. Ning Yu was the martial artist at the late stage of Yin-Yang realm. Brat, I advise you to give up the fight over your sea of consciousness. Otherwise, I will detonate your sea of consciousness and make you suffer the consequences. Evil King Violet Spirit changed into a white speck of light for a while, and then into a golden speck of light for a while as he shouted in a low voice. Evil King Violet Spirit, I should be the one to say that to you. Ning Yu was not frightened by Evil King Violet Spirit. Back in the Pill Cave, Ning Yu already knew that the Evil King Violet Spirit would devour the golden core in his sea of consciousness. At that time, Ning Yu had arranged everything properly. In order to completely control Evil King Violet Spirit, Ning Yu first contacted Ouyang Luin and asked him to be his helper. Then, Ning Yu pretended to fall into the trap, causing Evil King Violet Spirit to be careless. I gave you a chance, but you don't know how to cherish it. Since it's like this, I'll fulfill your wish. Evil King Violet Spirit's eyes flickered incessantly. As he flicked his sleeves, a stream of purple gas appeared in his hand. Diabolic Violet Spirit, don't waste your energy. I know that you have done something to the speck of light. Unfortunately, the purple-colored chi that you left in the speck of light has all been refined by me. Looking at the purple-colored chi in the palm of the diabolic Violet Spirit, Ning Yu said indifferently, "Oh, right, there's still a small bottle of purple gas that I left behind. I haven't completely refined it." In order to convince Evil King Violet Spirit, Ning Yu took out a small jade bottle from his bosom and said indifferently, "Pucci." Seeing the jade bottle in Ning Yu's hand, Evil King Violet Spirit's eyes widened. His face filled with incredulity. No matter how Evil King Violet Spirit calculated, he did not calculate that Ning Yu could refine the purple gas in the light speck. Evil King Violet Spirit's trump card was the purple gas. Without the purple gas, his strength would at least drop several times, and he might even die because of this. Evil King Violet Spirit was a pill puppet If he wanted to survive on the mainland, he must find someone to possess. Moreover, once he left the pill cavern, his strength would drop rapidly. Right now, evil King Violet Spirit was very anxious. His strength had already dropped from peak manifestation realm to early stage manifestation realm. After a period of time, it would definitely drop to yin-yang realm. At that time, the consequences would be unthinkable. Humph. Even if you didn't completely refine the purple gas if I want to kill you, it's as easy as taking something out of my pocket. Evil King Violet Spirit could not delay any longer. He snorted coldly and immediately made a move, wanting to forcefully control Ningyu while his cultivation was still at early stage manifestation realm to carry out possession. As for the two black and white dogs behind Ningyu, evil King Violet Spirit completely did not take them to heart. To him, two half-step manifestation realm dogs would not be able to cause any trouble. He could kill them in one move. Dark Emperor Furball let him come over. Ning, you would not let the Dark Emperor and Furball make unnecessary sacrifices. Although evil King Violet Spirit's cultivation had dropped to early stage manifestation realm, as the saying goes, a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. Evil King Violet Spirit's battle strength at early stage manifestation realm was still not weak. Brat, at least you're sensible. Be obedient. Evil King Violet Spirit shouted loudly when he saw the Dark Emperor and Furball disperse. However, before evil King Violet Spirit's shout had finished, it abruptly stopped, because evil King Violet Spirit discovered that a martial artist had unknowingly appeared in front of Ningyu. To be precise, it was an early-stage manifestation realm martial artist. Ouyang Luan. Ouyang Luan strictly abided by the agreement with Ningyu. He only appeared when evil King Violet Spirit was only 1 meter away from Ningyu. A distance of 1 meter was neither long nor short. At the very least, with Ouyang Luan's ability, such a close distance was enough for him to heavily injure evil King Violet Spirit. Pucci. Evil King Violet Spirit guessed that Ningyu might have a trump card, but he did not expect that other than those two dogs, Ningyu still had a peak early-stage manifestation realm martial artist by his side. Because 90% of evil King Violet Spirit's attention was placed on Ningyu, it caused him to neglect Ouyang Luan, and his body was struck by Ouyang Luan's fist. In the next instant, evil King Violet Spirit spat out a mouthful of purple blood. His eyes widened, and with a look of near despair, he turned into a purple dot of light. What is this dot of light? Staring at the huge purple dot of light in front of him, Ningyu frowned slightly and muttered, "Could it be something that combines soul force and essence chi?" Ningyu knew that within the white dot of light was pure essence chi, and within the golden dot of light was pure soul force. But this was the first time he had seen this purple dot of light. My current cultivation is late-stage yin-yang realm, and the strength of my soul force is at the peak of grade 6. Ningyu fell into deep thought. After advancing to late-stage yin-yang realm, coupled with the red devil sword, he could kill a mid-stage manifestation realm martial artist. Of course, if he encountered a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist, he could only resist, and it would be very difficult to kill. If he took the risk and devoured the purple dot of light that evil King Violet Spirit had turned into, his strength might increase, and he could easily kill a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist. However, his strength might also plummet, and he might not even be a match for an early-stage manifestation realm martial artist. Chapter 752. A preliminary fight. Although Ningyu was weighing the pros and cons, he did not have much time left. Outside the void, the late-stage manifestation realm corpse executioner had already noticed the area they were in and was gradually increasing his perception. Once corpse executioner detected something, and he was not prepared, the consequences would be unimaginable. Forget it. Even if I devour the purple light spots with all my might, I can't do it in one go. I need at least an hour to completely devour and refine them. After pondering for a few seconds, Ningyu temporarily gave up on devouring the purple light spots. Crack! At this moment, a huge attack blasted the space beside Ningyu, completely blasting open the already unstable space. The space was blasted open, and Ningyu and the others were naturally exposed to Corpse Executioner's vision. You're here too. Corpse Executioner did not pay attention to Ningyu immediately. Instead, his gaze fell on Ouyang Corpse Executioner raised his eyebrows and said sinisterly, Ouyang Luan Danu College's Mu Feng is already under my control. I advise you to surrender as soon as possible to avoid a lot of physical pain. Ouyang Luan did not react to Corpse Executioner's contempt and provocation. Ouyang Luan was not a fool. Ningyu was the most powerful person here, so it was not his place to interrupt. Ouyang Luan did not speak, but in Corpse Executioner's eyes, it was a blatant provocation. Swoosh! Corpse Executioner also had a bad temper. Without another word, he immediately rushed out. At such a short distance, it was already too late for Ouyang Luan to dodge. He could only brace himself and face Corpse Executioner's palm. However, before Ouyang Luan could attack, Ningyu slapped his shoulder, signaling him to retreat. Ouyang Luan did not want to show off. Ningyu told him to leave, so he quickly retreated. Life and death palm. Looking at Corpse Executioner approaching, Ningyu took a deep breath. A violent wave of primordial chi appeared on his palm and collided with Corpse Executioner's palm. Bang! The two palms collided, and a crisp sound rang out. Soon after, the two figures rapidly retreated. One retreated a dozen steps, while the other retreated 3 steps. The one who took a dozen steps back was naturally Ningyu, who was at the late stage of Yin Yang realm. The one who took 3 steps back was a corpse art in the later stage of Blessed Realm. Although he had gained the upper hand in one move, Shi Ding was not satisfied at all. He was a martial artist in the later stage of the Creation Realm, while the young man opposite him was only in the later stage of the Yin Yang realm. There was no comparison between the two of them. On top of that, he had used 60% of his strength in that palm strike. If this news got out that he couldn't kill a late-stage Yin Yang realm martial artist with 60% of his strength, how is he going to establish himself in the Great Xia Kingdom? If this matter spread to the headquarters of the Corpsine sect, he would be even more ashamed. Therefore, at this moment, Corpse Execution directly sentenced Ningyu to death. Silver-winged dragon, twin-horned beast, don't stay in the pill cavern any longer. This is a moment of life and death for Danu College. Only by working together to repel these invaders can you continue to enjoy the pill cavern. After one move, Ningyu stood on the spot. Ningyu first used a secret technique to notify the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast in the pill cavern before turning to the Dark Emperor and the others. No, to be exact, to the Dark Emperor and the other dogs beside him. Dark Emperor Furball, the two of you have already advanced to the Yin Yang realm, and your combined strength is comparable to that of an early manifestation realm martial artist. Now, go help guard the other 4 entrances. Swish, swish. The Dark Emperor and Furball were sensible dogs. They didn't bother with Ningyu and directly tore open the void and left. As for Ouyang Luan, he tactfully rushed toward the other entrance. Apart from the main entrance of Danu College, there were a total of 4 entrances. The Dark Emperor, Furball, and Ouyang Luan. Only one entrance was left unguarded. The silver-winged dragon and twin-horned beast are both half-step blessed realm demonic beasts. It shouldn't be a problem for them to guard one entrance. However, I have to stall them first. Thinking of this, Ningyu immediately took out the red devil sword and slashed down with a shocking sword wave. Solitaire. A huge sword wave separated from the red devil sword and slashed toward Corpse Execution like a huge dragon. A martial artist at the late stage of Yin Yang realm can actually slash out such a powerful sword wave. He is indeed not simple. Looking at the huge sword wave in midair, Corpse Execution's eyes turned cold. He also took out a flying sword and slashed down with a black sword wave. Rumble! In the next moment, the two sword waves collided in midair. A deafening explosion spread out in all directions from the point where the sword waves collided. The aftermath of the collision attracted the attention of many martial artists. Even the people from the Corpse sect who were attacking the Dan Wu Academy stopped in their tracks and shifted their gazes towards the area where the sword waves collided. On the streets of the capital, some of the martial artists who were watching the show were so shocked that their mouths were wide open and their faces were full of horror. Two late-stage blessed realm martial artists are fighting. A martial artist shouted, "Late-stage blessed realm? Are you blind?" One of them is at the late-stage blessed realm, and the other is only at the late stage of Yin-Yang realm. A martial artist next to him said disdainfully, "That's right. If I'm not wrong, the late-stage blessed realm martial artist is the Corpse sect leader who besieged Danwu College, Corpse Execution. The late-stage blessed realm martial artist is from Danwu College. It's Ningyu." A Peak Yuan Dan realm martial artist nodded. Swoosh! As soon as the Peak Yuan Dan realm martial artist finished speaking, there was silence all around. Although everyone knew that Ningyu was very strong and had won the first place in the Sacred Institute's assessment, they had never imagined that Ningyu would be so strong. A late-stage blessed realm martial artist fighting against a late-stage blessed realm martial artist? To hell with it. There was a huge gap between the two. Since the founding of the Xia Kingdom, there had never been such a heaven-defying genius. Even the most outstanding genius in the history of the Xia Kingdom couldn't fight someone who was a whole level higher than him. Swoosh! While everyone was discussing on the street within Danwu College, Ningyu had turned into an afterimage and disappeared. The silver winged dragon and the twin-horned beast would only come out from the cavern in about a minute. Ningyu knew what he had to do at this stage. He had to delay the Corpse sect martial artists at one of the entrances and prevent them from entering Danwu College. Damn it! When Corpse Execution saw Ningyu vanishing, it was as if his little wife had been stolen. He let out a shout and tore through the void to chase after Ningyu. After advancing to the late stage of Yin-Yang realm, Ningyu's speed was much faster. Before Corpse Execution could catch up to Ningyu, Ningyu had turned into an afterimage and arrived at the leftmost entrance of Danwu College. Corpse Execution's speed wasn't too slow either. Not long after Ningyu landed, he tore through the void and appeared. "Hee, I know what you want to do. You are stalling for time." Corpse Execution felt the grand occasion of the other entrances and smiled sinisterly. "Death is at hand and you still want to stall for time. I think you want to meet the King of Hell early." Corpse Execution was a smart person. A smart person would not hesitate in doing things. Ningyu wanted to stall for time, but Corpse Execution wouldn't let him. "Everyone, don't hold back. Within a minute, you must break the door." Corpse Jew's eyes glowed brightly. Chapter 753. The Upper Hand Not Good. As soon as the corpse technique disappeared, Ningyu realized something was wrong. No matter what, Corpse Executioner was still a martial artist in the later stage of the creation realm. When he attacked with all his might, the power was still very great. "Silver Winged Dragon, Twin Horns Beast, you only have 30 seconds. Ningyu instructed the Silver Winged Dragon and the others before slashing out with the Red Fiend sword. Whoosh! Whoosh! In an instant, two huge sword waves were formed. One of the sword waves was aimed at several Corpse sect cultivators outside the entrance. The lowest cultivation level of the Corpsine sect was at the half-step Fate realm, and there were even a few early-stage Fate realm warriors. In order to prevent them from breaking through the defensive formation at the entrance, Ningyu had no choice but to slash out a sword wave to distract them. The other sword wave slashed at the void in front of Ningyu. Ningyu's cultivation was low, but his perception was not weak at all. Although the corpse execution had disappeared from the area, Ningyu was very clear about its movement trajectory, especially when the flying sword in the hand of corpse martialist was about to tear the void. Ningyu controlled the second sword wave to attack the area where corpse martialist was located. Crack! The crisp sound of the void shattering rang out beside corpse mantra. Corpse Jew didn't expect Ning Yu's perception to be so strong, so he quickly appeared from the void. Good, very good. You have completely angered me. The corpse that appeared from the void flew into a rage out of humiliation. Ever since corpse art became the sect master of the In Corpse Sect's branch in the Great Xia country, he had never been in such a sorry state. It would be fine if the martial artist in front of him was at the later stage of the creation realm, but the key was that the martial artist in front of him was only at the later stage of the Yin-Yang realm. Awkward, it was extremely awkward. I've angered a lot of people. You won't make a difference, Ningyu said calmly on the surface, but in his heart he thought, 20 seconds left. Sure, Ju taking action was exactly what Ningyu wanted. As long as he could drag it out for another 20 seconds, he would be able to fight against the corpse executioner openly. At that time, both sides would truly rely on their own abilities. Right now, Ningyu had too many concerns. He was afraid that the corpse sect would attack Danwu College. You want to buy time, but I won't let you. Corpse Ju's eyes turned and he shouted, All corpse sect martial artists, listen to my order. All of you enter Danwu College from the main entrance and temporarily abandon the other side entrances. The array formation at the main entrance has long been broken by me. Voila! Corpse Execution's words, which contain vital energy, caused the people of Danwu College to be in an uproar. Originally, the people of Danwu College were counting on the 4 side entrances to block the experts of the corpse insect. But now, they had to change direction and enter from the main entrance. The array at the main entrance had already been destroyed by the corpse mantra. Extreme crisis. This moment was truly an extreme crisis for the Danwu Academy. Kaka! Hearing corpse execution's order, Ningyu's face became completely gloomy. Ningyu knew that there was no point in dragging it out. The best solution now was to kill corpse execution and force the experts of the corpse insect to retreat. Life and death palm. Ningyu knew the seriousness of the problem. Without the slightest hesitation, he immediately wrapped the vital energy in his sea of knowledge around his wrist and sent out a backhand palm. It's too late to fight me now. Seeing Ningyu's palm filled with violent vital energy, corpse execution smiled and said, I'll let you see the true strength of a late-stage creation realm martial artist. Along with corpse execution's words, a monstrous vital energy fluctuation appeared on his wrist. From this vital energy fluctuation alone, it was obvious that he had reached the peak of the late stage of creation realm. Although the vital energy fluctuation on Ningyu's palm wasn't weak, it was only at the peak of the late stage of Yin-Yang realm. The reason why corpse execution couldn't kill Ningyu last time was because he didn't use his full strength. This time, corpse execution didn't hold back and used 100% of his strength. Chi, the corpse art in the later stage of the blessed realm, did not hold back at all. Its power shook the heavens, and even the space around it sizzled. Some of the martial artists who were closer were foaming at the mouth, and their breaths were weak. In many people's hearts, the power of a late-stage creation realm martial artist's full strength was indeed terrifying, making them unable to resist. Of course, others didn't have any thoughts of resisting, but Ningyu did. Soul Force, Blue Spiritual Fire. In order to block corpse execution's palm, Ningyu summoned his peak 6th grade Soul Force and Blue Spiritual Fire and wrapped them around his wrist. Success or failure depends on this. Time seemed to have stopped in an instant. At this moment, In addition to the students of Danwu College, even the martial artists of the entire Xia kingdom shifted their gaze to the sky above Danwu College. To be more precise, they shifted their gaze to Ningyu and Corpse Execution's palm. Everyone wanted to see if Ningyu could create a miracle and defeat the Corpse sect leader. Everyone held their breath and concentrated, afraid that they would miss a feast. Pa! What broke the silence was a crisp sound. Puchi! Then, the sound of blood spurting out was heard. Hearing this sound, the students of Danwu College were all dumbfounded. Some sighed, some were helpless, some were disappointed, and some were desperate, because the development of the matter was just as Corpse Execution said. Ningyu had no chance of winning. It's over, it's over. Corpse sect wants to control Danwu College, the capital in the Xia kingdom. Sigh, I originally thought that Ningyu could create a miracle. But who would have thought that even Ningyu can't do anything to Corpse Execution? Yeah, Corpse Execution is a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist. In the Xia kingdom, his cultivation is probably the highest, right? Don't think so much. Let's think about where we should go. What? Pessimism spread. However, just as the last martial artist wanted to preach his pessimistic opinion, he was stunned on the spot with his mouth wide open and a dumbfounded look on his face. Puchi! In midair, another mouthful of blood spurted out. This time, the martial artist who spurted out blood was not Ningyu, but the Corpse sect leader. Corpse Execution. Corpse Execution was a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist. How could he spurt out blood? Could it be that, Ning, you could really fight him head-on? Thinking of this, the pessimistic haze that shrouded the heads of the students was instantly dispelled. Everyone looked at the thin figure in midair. This time, there was no pessimism or despair in everyone's eyes, only hope and gratitude. Old Fart, a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist, is only SOSO. In midair, Ningyu wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said gloomily, "How is it? The taste of my palm didn't feel good, right? Humph. Cough, cough." Hearing Ningyu's slightly mocking words, Corpse Execution let out a cold snort and then a burst of dry coughs. Chapter 754. The Last Battle. Don't think that you are very powerful just because you blocked my palm. You will never know how powerful a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist is. When Corpse Jew said this, the faces of all the students in Danwu College turned cold. Ningyu was the last line of defense of Danwu College. If even Ningyu was not a match for Corpse Jew, then Danwu College would definitely fall into the hands of the Corpse sect today. Originally, many students thought that Ningyu and Corpse Jew were about the same. But after hearing Corpse Jew's words, many students felt that Corpse Jew still had a trump card. Hee, I don't know how powerful a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist is. Ningyu did not mind Corpse Mantra's words at all. The corners of his lips curled up as he said with a faint smile, "I won't hide it from you. When I killed the late-stage manifestation realm martial artists, you might still be wearing diapers." Ha ha ha! Ningyu's words eased the anger of the originally depressed Danwu College a little. The atmosphere of Danwu College eased, but the anger of the Corpse sect martial artists became a lot more tense. Ningyu was ridiculing their sect master in front of them. Even if the aunt could endure it, the uncle couldn't. Swish, swish, swish. Since they couldn't bear it anymore, the 20 to 30 martial artists of the Corpse sect swarmed to the main gate of Danwu College and attacked Danwu College from a main gate according to Corpse Jew's instructions. Buzz, buzz! However, when the 20 to 30 martial artists of the Corpse sect arrived at the main gate, two behemoths appeared. Pa! After these two behemoths appeared, they turned the two peak yin-yang stage martial artists of the Corpsine sect, who were guarding Mu Feng, into minced meat with one palm each. Ningyu, you deal with that old man. Leave this to us. The behemoths were the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horns beast. Not long after the silver-winged dragon appeared, the Dark Emperor, Harry Ball, and the others all arrived at the main gate of Donwu College. At this moment, outside the main gate of Donwu College, the 28 peak experts of the corpse sect gathered together. Among these martial artists, the lowest cultivation was at the half-step manifestation realm, while the highest was at the early stage manifestation realm. This kind of combat power was really terrifying. At the main gate of Donwu Academy, with the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast in the lead, Oingluin, the Dark Emperor, Furball, and several dozen other Donwu Academy instructors were supporting them, ready for battle at any time. Corpse Art stared at Silver-Winged Dragon and the others and sneered. "You want to stop the people of the Corpse-Ean sect with just these little shrimps." "Me too." Whoosh! Suddenly, the void in the distance was torn apart. Then, a woman wearing a bamboo hat appeared in front of everyone. Black Widow. This woman was none other than the Black Widow who had chased after old monster Black Nefarious. For some reason, Black Widow's cultivation had already broken through the limits and advanced to the early stage of the manifestation realm. There's still us. Not long after the Black Widow appeared, another two figures tore through the void on the other side. These two martial artists were also at the early stage of the manifestation realm. It's the Black and White Heroes. I didn't expect the Black and White Heroes to also advance to the early stage of the manifestation realm. It is said that 20 years ago, they were only at the peak of the Yin Yang realm. Look, someone else has appeared. Crack! As the martial artist spoke, the space next to the Black and White Heroes was torn apart again. This time, the number of martial artists that appeared was quite large. The Patriarch of Drunken Cloud Villa, the Patriarch of the Assassination Pavilion, and the Patriarchs of other forces had all arrived. Originally, it would be difficult for them to defend Donwu Academy with the silver-winged dragon. But now that so many people suddenly appeared, the pressure on them was instantly reduced. It could be said that with the addition of Black Widow and the others, at least on the surface, they would not be at a disadvantage. Even with the combat power of the silver-winged dragon and the Dark Emperor, they might be able to gain the upper hand. I wonder if the little shrimps you mentioned can stop the little shrimps of the Corpsean sect? The appearance of so many martial artists made Ning Yu completely relieved. Now that Ning Yu no longer had any worries, he could have a real fight with Corpse Jew. Corpse Jew's face was gloomy and he shouted coldly. I said, "You are not my opponent. No matter what, you are not my opponent." Noisy! Without any worries, Ningyu naturally would not argue with Corpse Jew here. If he wanted to fight, then fight. If he didn't want to fight, then so be it. Life and Death Palm. Ningyu's first attack was the 7th style of the Netherworld Samsara Palm, Life and Death Palm. As for the Life and Death Palm, it was obvious that Ningyu's soul force and cultivation increased. In the past, when Ningyu was at the early stage of the Yin-Yang realm and his soul force was at the early stage of the 6th grade, he could rely on the Life and Death Palm to deal with a half-step manifestation realm martial artist. Now that Ningyu's cultivation had advanced to the late stage of the Yin-Yang realm, his soul force had reached the peak of the 6th grade. The power of the Life and Death Palm displayed in this state was close to that of a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist. Child's play. Corpse Jew was not frightened by Ningyu's palm print. Although the power of the Life and Death Palm was comparable to the attack of a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist, it must be known that Corpse Jew himself was a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist. Corpse Jew flicked his wrist and instantly pushed out a palm print. After pushing out the palm print, Corpse Jew laughed sinisterly. "Competing with me with palm prints, you still? What?" However, just as Corpse Jew's sinister laughter sounded, his expression changed greatly, because Corpse Jew saw that after Ningyu made a palm print, he immediately made a few more palm prints. Moreover, the power of each palm print was surprisingly consistent. This time, Corpse Jew was completely dumbfounded. It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense at all. It was already very good for a late-stage yin-yang realm martial artist to make a palm print that was comparable to the palm print of a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist. But to make dozens of palm prints in a row, it was a bit unreasonable, right? Corpse Palm. Corpse Jew was indeed worthy of being the sect leader of the Corpse sect. After a brief daze, he quickly waved his hands and made dozens of palm prints in an instant. In midair, nearly 100 palm prints collided together. The scene was extremely chaotic. Kacha, 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 chi, 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 incessant cracking sounds and incessant sizzling sounds could be heard. Like bamboo shoots after the rain, all of them emerged. Such a grand and imposing attack not only caused everyone in the Danwu Academy to be dumbfounded, but even the martial artists on the capital streets had dumbfounded looks on their faces. Gulp. On the streets of the capital, all the martial artists swallowed a mouthful of saliva and stared at Ningyu and Corpse Jew, who were in the middle of the palm prints. Compared to the previous exchange, this was the real exchange. In fact, it was no wonder that everyone was staring at the two people in midair. Everyone knew that the outcome of this battle would be decided. Whether Ningyu would defeat Corpse Jew or Corpse Jew would defeat Ningyu. Everything was still unknown. However, everyone was praying for Ningyu to win, because everyone was very clear that once Corpse Jew won, it would be a huge disaster for the capital and the entire Dixia Empire. Chapter 755. Another glimmer of hope rumble. The impact from the collision of the hundreds of palm prints even caused cracks to appear in the void. These spatial cracks converged together like fireworks, blooming in the air to their heart's content. Swoosh! Swoosh! Suddenly, two figures rushed out from several spatial cracks, one in front and one behind, and flew straight out of Danwu College. Ha ha ha! Boy, do you think you can defeat me with just a few dozen palm prints? You're too naive. Corpse Execution laughed as he chased after Ningyu. In the Corpse sect, the Corpse Palm was divided into several levels. As the sect leader of the Corpse sect, the Corpse Execution mastered the Corpse Palm, which was naturally the highest level of attack. Although the life and death palm displayed by Ningyu was very powerful, the Corpse Execution's Corpse Palm was also very powerful. The reason why Ningyu was able to gain the upper hand from the beginning was that he was the first to make a move, which gave him the advantage of time. But as time passed, the advantage of the life and death palm was gradually eroded, and in the end, it could only block the Corpse Palm. When it rains, it pours. Under normal circumstances, the life and death palm could block the Corpse Palm for about 10 minutes. But at the critical moment, Corpse Execution took out a golden pill and threw it into his mouth. In an instant, he sent out several corpse palms. The result was obvious. The stalemate was broken, and Ningyu could only flee in panic. It's over, it's over. Ningyu is being chased by Corpse Execution. Does the heavens want our Danwu College to die? Seeing Ningyu being chased by Corpse Execution, the students of Danwu College began to despair. Voila! The pessimism seemed to have completely exploded at this moment. Suddenly, someone shouted, "Look, Ningyu stopped again!" Swoosh! Hearing this, everyone's gaze shifted to Ningyu. In the air, Ningyu abruptly stopped his body, and his expression was extremely solemn. "Huh, why aren't you running anymore?" Seeing that Ningyu had stopped in place, Corpseful frowned and was a little puzzled. According to Corpse Execution's understanding, if Ningyu wanted to run, it would be very difficult for him to catch up in a short time. At the very least, it would take a few hours to catch up to Ningyu. After all, there was too much essence in Ningyu's sea of consciousness. It seemed like it could be maintained endlessly. Corpse Executioners were naturally suspicious. When Ningyu stopped, he felt that there must be a trap. I want to King run, but I can't. Ningyu was extremely displeased. Ningyu was not a fool or an idiot. Naturally, he knew that as long as there's life, there's hope. Most importantly, Ningyu could not leave Danwu College. This was because Ningyu had sensed Hu Jian's aura outside Danwu College. 2 days ago, Ningyu and Hu Jian had an agreement. From that day onwards, Hu Jian could not take half a step into Danwu College. The price he had to pay was that Ningyu had to leave Danwu College within 7 days. Otherwise, Hu Jian could unilaterally break the agreement. Hu Jian's cultivation was at the peak of the manifestation realm. If Ningyu left Danwu College at this time, it was tantamount to courting death. Compared to Hu Jian, who was at the peak of the manifestation realm, Ningyu wanted to face a martial artist in the late stage of the manifestation realm more. Come out, come out. In a certain void outside the Danwu Academy, Mu Tian's eyes stared fixedly at Ningyu and could not help but shout. In Mu Tian's heart, he had already sentenced Ningyu to death. Mu Tian wanted Ningyu dead all the time. He wanted to crush Ningyu's bones and scatter his ashes. 7 days was too much for Mu Tian. Therefore, Mu Tian looked forward to Ningyu leaving Danwu College earlier. This way, he knew, Hu Jian could capture Ningyu openly. Mu Tian, don't worry. Even if Ningyu doesn't leave Danwu College, he can't escape even if he has wings, Hu Jian said calmly. Don't worry? How can I not worry? Mu Tian said coldly. I want to kill Ningyu with my own hands. Ningyu is mine. No one else can kill him. Mu Tian was very violent. He did not want others to kill Ningyu. What he wanted was to kill Ningyu with his own hands. He wanted to kill Ningyu with his own hands. Hearing Mu Tian's words, Hu Jian was a little displeased. However, he did not show it. Instead, he said in a low voice, don't worry. When Corpse Executioner wants to kill Ningyu, I will stop him. At that time, Corpse Executioner will let you have Ningyu. That's more like it. Mu Tian's anger subsided a little. However, he still stared at Ningyu without blinking, like a hungry wolf staring at a lamb. So, your name is Ningyu. Corpse Executioner heard the shouts of the crowd in Danwu College and said in a sinister tone, to be able to die by my hands, it can be considered the fortune you cultivated in your previous life. Swoosh! Corpse Executioner was afraid that something would happen if he delayed. His eyes turned cold and he rushed out immediately. At such a close distance, for a peak powerhouse like Corpse Puppeteer would only take 0.1 seconds. 0.1 second later, Corpse Executioner had already arrived in front of Ningyu. Facing Corpse Executioner's attack, Ningyu did not choose to dodge. Instead, he floated in the air blankly. Are you stupid? Seeing Ningyu's blank look, Corpse Executioner was stunned. After a short pause, Corpse Executioner gritted his teeth and punched hard at Ningyu's chest. Bang! The huge force from his chest made Ningyu's throat taste sweet, and he spat out a big mouthful of blood. Although he spat out blood, Ningyu still floated in the same place and did not retreat even half a step. Even Ningyu stretched out his palm to wipe the blood at the corner of his mouth and revealed a strange smile. I've lost my mind. Not good. Seeing Ningyu laugh, Corpse Executioner was stunned again. Just when he wanted to say something, his expression changed greatly and he hurriedly retreated. Chi-chi. However, how could Ningyu waste such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? Moreover, this time Corpse Executioner was stunned for a little longer than the last time. This little bit of time was the last time Corpse Executioner could have in this world. Ningyu waved his sleeves quickly, and in an instant a red flying sword swept out and rushed towards Corpse Executioner at a terrifying speed. Ningyu had been waiting for this moment. Red Demon Sword. As he retreated, Ningyu handed over control of the Red Demon Sword to Red Devil. At the same time, he gave Red Devil all the holy chi in his sea of consciousness and the flower bud that he had absorbed from the void. Hit the snake where it hurts, and use all your strength to kill. Ningyu understood this principle. With so much vitality and holy chi replenished, Red Devil controlled the Red Demon, soared like a fish in water. The Red Demon's sword had long been restored to the Emperor level. The Emperor level Red Demon sword was extremely powerful. Poof! It would have been fine if Corpse Executioner was stunned. But his days really gave Red Devil an opportunity. In a flash, Red Devil and the Red Demon's sword fused together and pierced straight into Corpse Executioner's heart. Swoosh! When the Red Demon's sword pierced into Corpse Executioner's heart, time seemed to stop. The area became abnormally quiet. Inside Danwu College, on the streets of the capital, all the martial artists had their mouths wide open, and there was only one expression on their faces. Surprise! Extreme surprise! Extreme surprise! Originally, everyone thought that Ningyu was dead for sure. Who would have thought? Chapter 756. Someone from the Blood God Palace. Impossible, impossible, impossible. Apart from the martial artists of the Great Xia Kingdom, who were surprised, Mu Tian, who was in the void, kept repeating the word impossible with his mouth wide open. Indeed, the fact that Ning Yu killed the Corpse Executioner of the late stage of the Fate Realm really shocked Mu Tian. Even in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, Mu Tian was ranked among the top 10 geniuses. A genius who was ranked among the top 10 in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple was not as good as a genius from the Great Xia Kingdom. A blow. Mu Tian suffered a big blow. Mu Tian even started to doubt his own talent. Mu Tian even started to doubt his life. It's that flying sword. Hu Jian was very smart. When he was in Danwu College, he already knew that there was something strange about the red flying sword in Ningyu's hand. Now it seemed that his guess was right. The red flying sword in Ningyu's hand was at least at the peak of the king rank. It was very likely to be a royal rank flying sword. Hu Jian was lucky enough to see the power of a royal rank flying sword in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. At that time, a genius in the early stage of the Fate Realm easily won against 3 people with a royal rank flying sword. The 3 defeated martial artists were all in the late stage of the Fate Realm. There are 5 days left. I must get that flying sword. Hu Jian secretly made up his mind to get the red flying sword in Ning Yu's hand. In Hu Jian's mind, the red demon sword was already his exclusive property. No one else should even think about touching it. Rumble. The most shocked one wasn't the Great Xia Kingdom's martial artists, Hu Jian or Mu Tian. The most shocked were the 28 peak experts of the Corpse sect. They besieged Danwu College with the Corpse Executioner, but in the end, they didn't even enter the main gate of the Danwu College, and the Corpse Executioner was already killed. They went for wool and came home shorn. They lost the sect master and the soldiers. What should we do? Among the 28 martial artists of the Corpse sect, a half-step to the Fate Realm martial artist asked the old man in the early stage of the Fate Realm next to him, "Go. Where there's life, there's hope." The martial artists at the peak of the initial stage of the Fate Realm were not fools. Ning Yu could even kill a corpse art at the later stage of the Fate Realm. They did not know what other powerful trump cards he had. It was unwise to clash with Ning Yu at this time. Since the Corpse sect had a massive influence, why not return to the headquarters to rest and reorganize? When the time came, they would gather all the members of the Corpse sect in the Great Xia Kingdom to attack the capital and flatten Danwu College. Voila! The moment the old man finished speaking, the 28 experts of the Corpse sect scattered like birds and beasts in all directions. Rumble, rumble. Once a person had the thought of escaping, they would lose focus and their combat strength would drop a lot. The 28 cultivators of the Corpse sect were typical examples. In just a few minutes, 18 of the 28 Corpse sect cultivators that had escaped had been killed in the chaotic battle. This was the so-called beating a drowning dog. These words were the best way to describe the Corpse sect cultivators. Hong Mo. Put the corpse art into the storage ring first. Sun Jiangwen has a way to make him tell the secrets of the corpse insect. With the end of the battle, Ningyu naturally would not intervene in the encirclement and annihilation of the corpse insect. After all, even if Ningyu wanted to intervene, he did not have the strength. With Ningyu's current state, he might not even be a match for a Yin-Yang realm martial artist, let alone a half-step Fate realm or an early-stage Fate realm martial artist. The corpse insect was the largest force in the Great Xia Kingdom, so they must have collected a lot of magic treasures and elixirs. The formation that Sun Jiangwen set up could also force out information from the dead. How could Ningyu miss such a good opportunity? I originally wanted to let the red demon sword devour the corpse art. Since you have a use for it, I will give it to you first. The red devil appeared from within the red devil's sword and chuckled. Then, he slapped the corpse mantra towards Ningyu. However, just as Ningyu was about to put the corpse art into the storage ring, a faint laughter slowly sounded in the area. I didn't expect to see a flying sword spirit body in the Great Xia Kingdom. It's really not simple. As the faint laughter faded, space trembled slightly. In an instant, 2 cultivators appeared from the cracks in space. Hiss! As soon as these 2 martial artists appeared, Ningyu and Hong Mo both sucked in a breath of cold air. This was because the cultivation of these 2 martial artists were both at the late stage of the Fate realm. Moreover, judging from the strength of their Yuan Qi, the aura of these 2 martial artists was even stronger than that of the corpse art. This was a bit embarrassing. As the saying goes, if you beat the young, the old will come, and if you beat the old, the shameless will come. Could it be that these 2 late-stage Fate realm martial artists were the shameless type? You may have misunderstood. Among the 2 martial artists, the slightly fatter one saw Ningyu's expression, waved his hand, and said, "We have nothing to do with the corpse sect. In other words, we also have a grudge against the corpse sect." The other short martial artist shrugged and said, "That's right, the corpse sect is a sect that does all kinds of bad things and is destined to be uprooted. You're not from the corpse sect?" Ningyu didn't relax his vigilance because of the words of the 2 martial artists. He was highly focused and asked in a deep voice, "Of course." The slightly fatter martial artist said in a clear voice, "We are from the Blood God Palace." Swish! Hearing the words of the slightly fatter martial artist, Ningyu's face instantly became gloomy and his heart sank to the bottom. Damn it. The people of the corpse sect did all kinds of bad things, but the Blood God Palace was no better. If the corpse sect was a vampire, then the Blood God Palace was a worm. The 2 were jackals of the same tribe and were equally matched. "Boy, we have been observing you for a long time. You were able to kill the corpse execution because of that royal grade flying sword." The slightly fatter martial artist said indifferently, "We have no enmity with you. As long as you hand over the royal grade flying sword, we can let you become the ruler of the Great Xia Kingdom." "Let me become the ruler of the Great Xia Kingdom?" Ningyu frowned. The slightly fatter martial artist said, "Of course, after today, the Great Xia Kingdom will be under the management of the Blood God Palace, just like the Lan Qing Kingdom. It seems that the Blood God Palace is the same as the corpse sect and ambitious sect." Ningyu said in a cold voice, "I am not afraid to tell you that since I can kill the corpse execution of the corpse sect, I can also kill you. Do you think we are scared?" The slightly fatter martial artist's face was gloomy and he shouted in a deep voice, "The corpse execution was killed by you because he was arrogant. We are different from him. There are 2 of us, 2 against 1. No matter how you look at it, we will win. If you don't believe me, you can give it a try." At this time, Ningyu calmed down, because Ningyu knew that it was useless for him to be anxious and would only attract the attention of the Blood God Palace martial artists. Instead of this, it was better to calm down and wait for an opportunity. "Hong Mo, I will leave the corpse execution to you. Devour him here." In order to confuse the 2 martial artists from the Blood God Palace, Ning Yu kicked the corpse execution to Hong Mo and said indifferently, "Okay." Chapter 757. Glory. Whoosh. As soon as the flying sword pierced into Corpse Execution's body, it was as if Corpse Execution had eaten corpse powder and his body gradually shriveled. Not long after, Corpse Execution turned from a corpse to a skeleton. Swish! Seeing how calm Ningyu was, the two martial artists from the Blood God Palace muttered in their hearts. Coupled with Corpse Execution's miserable state, the two martial artists from the Blood God Palace stopped moving forward and didn't immediately snatch the red demon sword. Miserable, it was really too miserable. No matter what, Corpse Execution was still a peak late-stage manifestation realm martial artist, but he ended up in such a miserable state after his death. Because they were afraid of Ningyu, the martial artists from the Blood God Palace didn't take the initiative to attack. For a moment, the situation became very strange. If the martial artists from the Blood God Palace didn't take the initiative to attack, Ningyu wouldn't be stupid enough to fight with them. With such a good opportunity, Ningyu would definitely work hard to recover and strive to recover to his peak state in a short time. Once he recovered to his peak state, Ningyu would no longer be afraid of the martial artists from the Blood God Palace. Although it was basically impossible to win 1 against 2, it was very easy for Ningyu to escape if he wanted to. While Ningyu and the others were still confronting each other at the main gate of Danwu College, 2 of the remaining 10 martial artists from the Corpse sect were killed. Now, among the 28 martial artists from the Corpse sect, only 8 early-stage manifestation realm martial artists were still alive. Silver Winged Dragon, Twin-Horned Beast, Dark Emperor, Harry Ball, Ouyang Luan, Black and White Heroes, and Black Widow. Each of these 8 people was fighting against an early-stage manifestation realm expert from the Corpse sect. Although Silver Winged Dragon and the others were very powerful, the 8 martial artists from the Corpse sect were all battle-hardened and had heaven-defying strength. Moreover, the 8 martial artists from the Corpse sect had already woken up. They knew that there was no way to escape. Only by fighting all the way could they change their fate. Ha ha ha! I haven't been so happy in a long time. I didn't expect that my first battle after advancing to the late-stage Yin-Yang realm would be so satisfying. The Dark Emperor pushed back the early-stage manifestation realm martial artist with one move and laughed. After advancing to the late-stage Yin-Yang realm, the Dark Emperor's strength increased by a lot. In addition, the Dark Emperor had unlocked some talent skills, so he could still have the upper hand when fighting against an early-stage creation realm martial artist. Bang! On the other side, Furball's situation was much better than the Dark Emperor's. In terms of size, Furball might not be as large as the Dark Emperor. But in terms of strength, Furball was much stronger than the Dark Sovereign. However, the early-stage manifestation realm martial artist that Furball was up against was also stronger than the early-stage manifestation realm martial artist that the Dark Emperor was up against, so Furball only had a slight upper hand and did not have an overwhelming advantage. Although the Silver Winged Dragon and the Twin Horns Beast were only half a step into the manifestation realm, they were not weak at all. In addition, the Silver Winged Dragon and the Twin-Horned Beast still had some holy chi, so they had an overwhelming advantage. They believed that in a few more minutes, the Corpse sect cultivators fighting against them would be killed. Ouyang Luan and Black Widow fought to a draw with the cultivators of the Corpse sect. They were evenly matched. The Black and White heroes were more powerful. Like the Silver Quetzalcoatlus, they had an overwhelming advantage. This time, all the cultivators of the Corpse sect were killed in one fell swoop. Seeing that there were only 8 cultivators of the Corpse sect left, the students of Danwu College all revealed expressions of relief. Awesome. Everything came too quickly, and it left too quickly as well. No matter what, the high-level combat power of the Corpse sect would be mostly gone after today's battle. From now on, it would be impossible for the Corpse sect to stir up too much trouble for a long time. Huh, Who are the two cultivators beside Ningyu? Are they the helpers that Ningyu invited? Suddenly, a cultivator noticed Ningyu's situation. In the void on Ningyu's left and right were two martial artists. Judging from their aura, these two cultivators were both at the late stage of the manifestation realm. Those two cultivators are not the helpers that Ningyu invited. Mu Feng suddenly opened his eyes and said in a deep voice, after a period of recuperation, although Mu Feng hadn't recovered to his peak, he had recovered about 10% to 20%. Although Mu Feng couldn't be compared to his peak, his perception was still there. Mu Feng saw greed, viciousness, and doubt in the eyes of the cultivators on both sides of Ningyu. All these signs showed that the two cultivators beside Ningyu were not invited by Ningyu, but came uninvited. What? Old Dean, you said that those two cultivators might be enemies? If they are really enemies, we are finished. That's right. If I'm not wrong, Ningyu has already used all his strength to kill the corpse mantra in the later stage of the Fate realm. If he encounters two more martial artists in the later stage of the Fate realm, he will definitely not be able to handle it. Swish! Swish! Just as everyone was discussing, the two cultivators from the Blood God Palace decided not to waste time with Ningyu, but to test Ningyu. Damn it! Sensing that the two cultivators from the Blood God Palace were attacking, Ningyu cursed. He held the red demon sword and slashed out two sword waves. The two sword waves were extremely fast and attacked the two cultivators from the Blood God Palace. Fortunately, the red demon sword had swallowed the corpse, so the sword retained a lot of energy. Otherwise, the attack from the cultivators from the Blood God Palace would be enough to seriously injure Ningyu. Even so, the two sword waves couldn't stop the attacks from the cultivators from the Blood God Palace. The warriors of the Blood God Palace broke through the sword wave in an instant, and each of them punched Ningyu's chest. Poof! The huge force that came from his chest caused Ningyu to spit out a mouthful of dark red blood, and his body fell straight to the ground. Whoosh! As Ningyu fell to the ground, it caused an uproar in Danwu College. Ningyu was the most powerful cultivator in Danwu College. Even he couldn't resist it. It seemed that the heavens really wanted to destroy Danwu College. Ha ha ha, I thought you were powerful. It turns out that you're just a wax figure. Nice to look at, but useless. Seeing that Ningyu was defeated in one move, the slightly plump cultivator from the Blood God Palace laughed and said, "If we had known, we would have attacked earlier." "Yes, let this kid live for a few more minutes," the short cultivator agreed. "Rong Chang, I'll leave this kid to you. I'll go and get the red flying sword first." The slightly plump cultivator smirked and immediately tore through the void to chase after the red demon sword. The action of the slightly plump cultivator annoyed the short cultivator called Rong Chang. The short cultivator also knew that the red demon sword was a royal level flying sword. After obtaining it, his overall strength would be greatly improved. Damn! Rong Wei has all the good things. I can only drink some soup. Although he was unhappy, Rong Chang didn't dare to fight with Rong Wei for the red demon sword. Although Rong Chang and Rong Wei were both in the later stage of the creation realm, the key was that Rong Wei had a supreme realm cultivator as his backer in the Blood God Palace. It was all because of this supreme realm cultivator that Rong Wei could get such a good job as controlling the Great Xia Kingdom. Chapter 758. Chapter 758. Soul Attack Swoosh. Rong Wei was very fast and arrived beside the red fiend sword in an instant. Under the pressure of Rong Wei's powerful aura, the red fiend sword could not move at all. After fusing with the red demon sword, the red demon strength could only contend with a half-step creation realm warrior. It would be difficult for it to contend with a warrior in the beginning stage of the creation realm, much less Rong Wei, who was in the later stage of the creation realm. Damn it, let's go all out. Ningyu was not an indecisive person. The current situation was very disadvantageous to him. Very disadvantageous. Once the Red Fiend's sword was taken away by Rongwei, the consequences would be unimaginable. Therefore, Ning Yu decided to take a gamble. As Ning Yu descended, he quietly fished out the purple light spot that Evil King Purple Spirit had transformed into. Gulp! This time, Ning Yu did not care and directly swallowed the purple light spot. Rumble! As soon as Ning Yu swallowed the purple light spot, he felt an extremely terrifying energy wreaking havoc in his body. This energy was extremely violent, and Ning Yu could even feel a thick soul force fluctuation inside. Yuan Qi and soul force. After all, Evil King Purple Spirit was the king of elixir puppets. It was not surprising that he had both Yuan Qi and soul force. Spirit transformation art. Ning Yu did not dare to waste even a fraction of a second. Time was life. Ning Yu hurriedly circulated the spirit transformation art and guided the Yuan Qi in his body into his consciousness. As for the pure soul force, Ning Yu chose to temporarily seal it. If there was a chance, he could use it as a trump card. Buzz buzz! Ning Yu's cultivation was at the late stage yin-yang realm. But as the pure Yuan Qi in his consciousness increased, he actually had a tendency to break through to the peak of yin-yang realm. I can't break through. Suppress it. Ning Yu knew that he must not try to break through at this time. He had to suppress it, constantly suppress it. There was nothing wrong with trying to break through, but it also depended on time. Rong Chang was chasing behind, and Rongwei was fighting for control of the Red Fiend sword. Everything was detrimental to Ning Yu's attempt to break through. In other words, there wasn't enough time. Therefore, Ning Yu had to suppress it with all his might. Life and death palm. After suppressing it to the limit, Ning Yu's eyes emitted a shocking light, and he suddenly turned around and rushed towards Rong Chang. You want to take my palm? Rong Chang was already very angry. Now that he saw Ning Yu recklessly wanting to exchange palms with him, he was even angrier. At this moment, Rong strengthened his grief and anger into strength. His palm brought bursts of Yuan Qi wind, colliding with Ning Yu's palm. Pa! The two palms collided, and a crisp sound rang out. Rong Chang and Ning Yu both took several steps back. Ning Yu took more than 10 steps back, while Rong Chang only took 1 step back. After all, Ning Yu was only at the late stage of yin-yang realm, while Rong Chang was at the late stage of creation realm. There was a huge gap between the two, and there was no way to compare them. I'll start with you first. Rong Chang turned his head to look at Rongwei, who was approaching the red demon sword. Then he stomped on the ground and rushed towards Ning Yu again. Hu Jian, Ning Yu is mine. Don't let anyone kill him. In the void outside Danwu College, Mu Tian could not help but shout when he saw Rong Chang's powerful attack. Wait a little longer. Ning Yu won't be defeated so easily. Hu Jian frowned slightly. He still felt that Ning Yu had changed in that instant. Although Hu Jian did not know what changes had happened to Ning Yu to him, Ning Yu's strength seemed to have increased significantly. Wait my A*S. If Ning Yu can block that late-stage creation realm martial artist attack, my head will F***CK. Mu Tian was furious at Hu Jian's inaction. However, before Mu Tian could finish his angry words, he opened his mouth and cursed. Next to Mu Tian, Hu Jian was also dumbfounded. He could not believe what he was seeing. What was wrong with this world? If it was a coincidence that Ning Yu had killed the corpse puppet earlier, then the fact that Ning Yu and Rongwei were evenly matched now shocked everyone. In midair, Ning Yu's palm and Rongwei's palm were pressed against each other. Neither could push the other back. Impossible. How is this possible? Not only was the crowd dumbfounded, but Rong Chang, who was one of the parties involved, was also dumbfounded. Before he fought with Ning Yu, Rong Chang did not believe that Ning Yu could fight him head-on. Originally, Rong Chang thought that Ning Yu could at most block one of his moves. After that, Ning Yu would be killed by him. Dreams were plentiful, but reality was harsh. Not only did Ningyu block one of his moves, but he was also evenly matched with him in the second move. Nothing is impossible. Originally, Ningyu could make use of the purple light spot to impact the peak of Inyang Realm, but time and situation did not allow it, resulting in Ningyu could only settle for the next best thing, gathering half of the essence energy in the purple light spot on his palm. Doing so had indeed produced an unexpected effect. The instant Rongchang was dumbfounded, Ningyu seized the opportunity and blasted out all the essence energy in his palm. Puchi! The tremendous force that came from the palm made Rongchang's eyes narrow, and he hurriedly wanted to withdraw his palm. However, no matter how hard Rongchang tried, he could not withdraw his palm. Ningyu's palm was like a magnet, firmly sucking his palm. Life and death palm! When Rongchang tried hard to withdraw his palm, Ningyu gathered his soul force on his other hand and pushed out with a palm. Bang! As Rongchang could not withdraw his palm, Ningyu's palm landed on Rongchang's chest very easily. Ha ha ha! Although Ningyu's palm hit his chest, Rongchang let out a loud laugh. This was because Rongchang did not feel the slightest threat from Ningyu's palm. In other words, Ningyu's palm did not have any effect. Laugh all you want. You will cry later. After the attack, Ningyu withdrew his palm and thought to himself, Rongchang, hurry up and kill that kid. Come over and protect me. On the other side, Rong Wei had already grabbed the red demon sword. Although he had the red demon sword, Rong Wei did not dare to refine it in front of so many people. If someone deliberately caused trouble, the consequences would be unimaginable. After all, the red demon sword was a monarch flying sword, and it was very difficult to refine it. A slight mistake would result in failure. Damn it! Upon hearing Rong Wei's voice, Rongchang cursed and said loudly, Wait for me for a few more seconds. I will protect you in a few seconds. Rongchang did not waste any more time. Since Ningyu's essence energy was stronger, he would use another method. Instead of using his essence energy, he would use his soul force. However, just as Rongchang circulated his soul force, his pupils shrank and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Kid, what did you do to me? Rongchang said coldly. I didn't do anything to you. Oh, right. Ningyu shrugged and said indifferently, I forgot to tell you. That palm just now was not an ordinary essence energy palm. It was a soul attack spell. What? A soul attack spell? You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.